The 2012 countdown has well and truly begun. In 3 years, London will play host to the greatest show on earth. The capital will be using some of its most famous landmarks to stage the Games. Today, we're putting one of its majestic venues to the test. Welcome to Hyde Park, to the Dextro Energy ITU Triathlon World Championship Series. It's the first chance that the world's best athletes will be able to test the proposed 2012 Olympic course. No walk in the park today, no feeding the ducks, no picnics here. Instead, a grueling 51.5 kilometres, starting with a swim, followed by a bike ride and climaxing in a 10-kilometre run. Joining me for the day is former British #1, Michelle Dillon. Michelle, what do you think of this Hyde Park venue?
I think it's really fantastic. I think it's close to, you know, all the trains, the buses. Spectators can come down, have a coffee, you know, have a look at, you know, this world-class event, which is fantastic.
And it's going to be really showcasing triathlon when their Olympics are on, bringing it right into the centre of town.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, this is a fantastic opportunity for these athletes, especially to compete here on home soil today, and you know, get a chance to have a look at the course and see what it feels like. You know, and you know, if it's flat, if it's hilly, but obviously it's flat here in London, so you know, that's it. And you know, the temperature is really important as well.
The bike leg, I think they are planning on extending it. Obviously, there are no hills that they can really make a test on the bike leg, but they are planning on extending it into town.
You know, I think that's really important to get the course right today. So, you know, if they have to extend it, I think that's definitely important for 212. I mean, this is like a test event. So, you know, to have the right course today, yeah, definitely very important factor.
And what will the athletes learn psychologically from the test event here, taking them forward to the Olympics?
You know, they'll just be able to take away, you know, if they have a good race or a bad race, they'll be able to take all the things, the positives and negatives that they've learnt from today's race with them, and work on you know, those things, so that when they come back, come 212, they'll be able to, you know, nail them and make sure they get everything right. So if they make any mistakes today on this course, they'll know that they can go away and work. You know, I think it's very important to have a good swim here. So they'll.
What are the water conditions like?
Well, apparently it's about 21.5 degrees, and it's a non-wetsuit swim. So you have to be a strong swimmer in these conditions, because it's no wetsuit. It's very tight to the first boy as well, especially in the men's race. Only 300 metres to the first boy. So, I mean, that's going to play a big part. If you don't get out early in this swim, you're going to be further back than you'd like to be.
Well, thanks, Michelle. Well, the world's best athletes are in the capital as part of the World Championship Series. London marks the 6th leg of a title race that's taken the athletes to all corners of the globe. Expanding on the previous single-day World Championship, this new format features 8 Grand Prix-style events. The world's best triathletes competing head-to-head in some of the world's most glamorous locations. It began back in May in Pyongyang in Korea, moved on to Madrid, Washington, Kitzbühel, then Hamburg, and now London. After today, the series moves on to Yokohama, culminating in the grand final on Australia's Gold Coast in September. As well as a record total prize money of over $3 million, competitors will be fighting for vital points to determine who will be world champion. Event winners get 800 points, with only their top 4 results counting. And then there's 1,200 points on offer for the winner of the grand final. Well, we have a strong British team competing here today. World champion Helen Jenkins goes in the women's race. That's coming up at about 3 o'clock. But it's the stunning rise of a young Yorkshireman that's caught everyone's attention. Great Britain's Alistair Brownlee is lying in second place going into today's race, just 93 points behind Germany's Mike Petzold. But Mike's recorded 4 results to Brownlee's 3 today, and Mike's not racing today. Javier Gomez of Spain is hot on their heels in third. A win today would put Alistair Brownlee in prime position going into the World Championship Series Grand Final in just under a month's time.
This season, you've had an incredible start. All of a sudden, you're the best in the world.
Yeah, and I can't believe myself, to be honest. You know, a lot of other guys had raced before, the first race I did in Madrid. So I kind of turned up there a bit unknown, not quite knowing how my form was, because it was one of my first, the first proper triathlon I'd done all year. And yeah, it was absolutely amazing, really. I had a perfect day and a massive surprise. Maybe we're not as big as some of the other guys.
Is that a good thing then? You don't look like a world champion.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. I've had friends like, go up to people and say, oh, he's been to the Olympics, and people will go, are you joking? Are you having a laugh?
Whenever I talk to triathletes, they're always saying, oh no, we need to go to Australia in the winter and we need the warm weather training. But you stay in Yorkshire and you train in all conditions during the winter.
I'm lucky to have, people there, coaches, physio, doctor if I want it, really fast. And the facilities are pretty good too, so there's a lot of things to consider, as well as just where you enjoy training. And okay, well, we have a bit of rain, but bad weather doesn't matter that much when you're running, and you just have to have a day off your bike if it's snowing.
So how old were you when you were kind of seriously riding your bike?
Yeah, maybe 11, 12. I remember we used to go around the park and do reps on the grass around the park, because we used to have a loop and whiz around our bikes on this loop before we got told off by the keeper to come move on.
You're also training with your brother as well. How much does he push you?
Yeah, it's not probably the big sessions. It's like every morning, Johnny's out of bed, there's no way I'm staying in bed, that kind of thing. It's probably all the little things.
I started training seriously when I was about 14.
But you've always had Alistair kind of pulling you on.
Yeah, he's 2 years older than me. So yeah, he's always been ahead of me. There's always been lots of competition between us.
Do you think it'll help if he ever got to a stage where he would beat you? Because he could be one of your biggest competitors come 2012.
Oh, definitely, without doubt, yeah. And hopefully it'll stay amiable and, it'll just help push us both on.
How much are you recognised now in Leeds? Have you had any kind of feedback at all, or are you fairly anonymous still?
Pretty fairly anonymous. Over the last year, there's been a lot more kind of newspaper coverage, bits more on TV, which is good. But on the whole, people don't really know who I am, and I don't know. I quite like it like that. Really, get on with your own business, do your training, and enjoy yourself.
Can't buy that view.
Is there just the two of you, or is there any other brothers and sisters?
Yeah, we've got a third younger brother who's 13. He likes a bit of rugby and cricket, those kind of things. Anything that's not too energetic, anything not too triathlon. I'm definitely going in there thinking, what can I do to give myself the biggest chance of winning the series, or being, in the top 3 in the series. So, another win, especially beating Gomez, I think is probably the big priority, because I think he's probably one of the most likely guys who could beat me in the series. Apart from that, of course, it's the Olympics are going to be there in 3 years' time. So, yeah, that's always going to be in the back of my mind, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what, Michelle, it's a good job you triathletes don't drink, because I don't think Alistair would get served in many pubs. He just looks so young.
He definitely has a baby face, but he has the determination of a champion, and I think, yeah, it's going to be great.
And what's going to happen when Johnny matures and Johnny's fast?
That's it. I mean, when they mature, it's going to be pretty scary, because they're so good now, the two of them, yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic to have those two coming through.
Great, thanks, Michelle. Well, earlier I was out and about in Hyde Park, finding out some more interesting facts about this venue. "340 acres of stunning sculptured landscape, and if you add on Kensington Gardens next door, it's bigger than Monaco." Originally owned by the monks of Westminster Abbey, it was acquired, shall we say, by Henry VIII, who turned it into a royal hunting ground. It wasn't until Charles I came along that the common man was allowed in. It's seen mass demonstrations, public executions, and the occasional rock concert. But today it's the perfect setting for the biggest race in town. First off, it's a swim in the Serpentine, which is no stranger to competition. Every Christmas morning it hosts the Peter Pan Cup, a 100-yard swim named in honour of the author J.M. Barrie. He presented the first winner's trophy here in 1904. The temperature should be a bit warmer here today, but they've got a lot further to go. It's 1,500 metres over 2 laps. Next, it's on to the bike. Time to visit some of the great and good. And they'll pass near the Diana Memorial, opened by the Queen in 2004. Then it's up South Carriage Drive, past Queen Elizabeth Gates, and then they hang a left back down to Transition 8 times, and they're going to be going a little bit faster than 15 miles an hour. If they've got any energy left, there's still a 10k run to do. Perhaps if they look up, they can gain strength from Achilles as they're flat out to the finish. Well, we've seen the course, now it's time to see the action. Can Alistair Brownlee continue his unbeaten run? Calling them home is our commentary team of Steve True and Stuart Story.
Well, thank you very much indeed for that, and you've got a background now to the event, and we have some principals certainly who will do battle with Alistair Brownlee. The introductions are now being made by the announcers on course, and you will see there is the 22.6 degree air temperature, 22 degrees water temperature, so it's a no wetsuit affair on this day, and that's a wonderful sight, isn't it? And you've heard a little bit about the course. It's a fast course indeed. Schumacher of the United States is a man who will feature most probably. He was 18th in the Olympic Games. He's one of a whole host of principals here. With Brad Karlefeld of Australia, then we've Gomez, and we've heard from Alistair Brownlee. But there is the overall ranking list for you, the series ranking. Petzold, as you've heard, isn't here, but Alistair Brownlee is the top rank. Gomez is here, so is Karlefeld, Schumacher, Polyansky and Brukhanov. They're all there. Some of those aren't. Frodeno, the Olympic champion, isn't here. Will Clark is. He's been running on the roads as well around London in preparation for this triathlon. That's Polyansky, number 5, the Russian. He's 22nd in the Beijing Olympics. And all the principals being introduced first on the right-hand side of the pontoon. They'll dive in. You've heard that there are a couple of laps. There's the start list for you. Alistair Brownlee, Gomez, he's the man to fear, of course. Karlefeld, Schumacher, Polyansky, Brukhanov, Vidal, the Frenchman. And those competitors will be in close contention right the way through this. It's absolutely clear. It's going to be a good race. No clear favourite, although Alistair Brownlee unbeaten thus far. The start list is big. There's 66 starters in all. There's Jonathan Brownlee, the younger brother of Alistair. Stu Hayes is there, and a very experienced British contingent. David McNamee is there too, the 40th. So there's a fair British involvement in this men's race. The conditions very, very good. The sun's been out, it's quite warm, as you've seen. The water temperature is good. There is hardly a breath of wind around us here. The leaves on the trees next to us are absolutely still, and still we should have one more to go on that start list, and there he is, Aaron Harris of Great Britain. Well, that's the scene, and of course that course will be fast. The swim will be quick. Certainly the bike with slight undulation should be okay, but this is a look at the series, which went from Tongyong to Madrid to Washington DC, then to Kitzbühel, that was in July, then to Hamburg on the 26th, this series, and now to London. They've got to go to Yokohama and to the grand final in the Gold Coast on September the 13th. Let's have a look at this course. The swim course, there are 2 laps, one of 1,000, one of 500 metres, into transition. Then the bike has got 8 laps of 5,000 metres, making up the 40 kilometres of biking. There's a look at the route. It's quite a quick course if they choose to make it quick. And then the final discipline will be the swim, which are the 3 loops of 3,300 meters, making plus the start, which makes 10,000 meters to the finish. The scene is set. It's a very, very good day. The conditions couldn't have been better, and the competition couldn't have been better either. Alistair Brownlee there. He's a good all-round triathlete now, winning in Kitzbühel, winning in Washington, winning in Madrid. As you heard earlier, only 3 participations thus far. But this is the man to watch out for on the water, Mr. Gomez. Francisco Gomez of Spain. The world champion. He's been injured, but he's coming back. He's won the European title. It's 3-1 to Brownlee on the season, I'm told. Number 3 is Carfelt. We've got to watch out for him, the Australian. Number 4, Schumacher of the United States of America. He was 18th in the Olympics. Incidentally, Carfelt was 16th. Number 10 there is Stefan Justus of Germany. All of these men really in contention. And as far as the swim is concerned, well, it could go to any one of them. The first lap is a larger lap of 1,000 meters and then 500 meters. And pontoon diving, as you can see, no wetsuits. The water temperature limit is 21 degrees. It's a degree but above that. So in they go in a moment. And we shall see whether our principals can get out there. And we would expect to see Brownlee up in that leading group. 66 starters. Well, they're underway now, and alongside me is Steve True. Steve, this is an excellent field, as one would expect in the 6th race of the World Series.
Stuart, this is just fantastic. We know we're going to get world-class fields, but what is so fantastic, really, is that in the world-class field, we have the British athletes up there. Alistair Brownlee, you've spoken about. I mean, you can't say he's come from nowhere, but 4 years ago, he was nowhere, and now he's the man to beat in the world. Critical on the swim. We're watching them really sprint out now. It's a 1,500-metre swim, but it's that first 200 metres to establish your place at the beginning and at the front of the pack.
Well, they've gone out very, very quickly indeed. Very, very quickly. There are 3 swimmers right out, and they've come from the middle of the pack. We'll try and, or to the right middle of the pack. We'll try and identify those at the moment. Right on the near side, we've got Brownlee and Gomez, these 2. But as often happens in the past, it's not just the winner of the swim that comes good at the end of the day. It's a big crowd here in Hyde Park. You've heard the geography, you've heard a little bit of history from Graham Bell, and this is a fantastic venue set up for 2012. There'll be slight modifications on the cycle with the roads, but the rest is as you will see it. Now we'll try and identify who's gone out here, Steve. Just another little look at the... There's a look at the start here. There it is. Good entry, the pontoon entry. In the major championships, they'll draw for entry in the Olympic Games and so forth. It's a matter of getting out there. Some like to swim in the pack, some like to get out and away. They don't like the feet and in the face, because that's quite an obstruction. And I'm just wondering who that is out in front. Try and get a little closer to them.
It's very, very spread widthways, isn't it there, Stuart? And we're going to see this coming together very closely. They'll be looking on the first turnaround, and that's critical. If there is a huge pack there, and we've seen people beginning to spread already, then the difficulty is if you get tied in, if you're on the inside going round the buoy, then that's the real issue. You lose your momentum, you use that little bit of speed. This is like, well, we watched the World Swimming Championships just a couple of weeks ago. Certainly we're not on a par with that, but the speed that these athletes have gone out on, and we can see just the effort in front, and just looking there, just a slight backing off in 2nd, 3rd, 4th place as they're beginning to draft, to take that alleviating effect of not having to work quite so hard just to stay on the feet. Approaching that first turn buoy.
Little bit closer in now. We can probably... there is Brownlee on the near side. That's Alistair Brownlee nearest to us here. I think that could be Gomez next to him. But Gomez is very useful too. Also there was Brukhanov of Russia. He's up in that leading group, just getting a closer look as they come round the buoy. Number 12 it is that's leading in, and that's Ivan Vasiliev of Russia. Vasiliev, he's competed in 2 of these series thus far. He had a 16th place in Hamburg and a 5th place in Madrid. So hoping to do a little bit better here. And he's gone off very, very fast indeed. There he is, wearing the number 12 shirt. He was 10th in the World Championships in Vancouver in 2008. See how tight they go round the buoys.
So tight. I saw Australia's Brad Carterfelt there as well, just up there along with Alistair Brownlee. Now, Carterfelt won the Commonwealth Games just 3 years ago. A man who comes from a not particularly strong swimming background, was very, very involved in duathlon at one time, went back to the drawing board, did his homework, and he came out, as you say, won the Commonwealth Games and is up here in the top 5 or 6 as they turn around that first turning buoy at 300 metres.
Well, just to say to you that at the end of the first lap, they do come out of the water, and whoever hits the water on the re-entry gets $500. So there are a lot of incentives on the way through. So that may well be what Vasiliev is aiming for at the moment. But I was expecting Brownlee. I was also expecting Courtney Atkinson. Carfelt we've mentioned. Jared Shoemaker to be up there. Toyama, the Japanese swimmer, is very, very good. Polyansky and Brukhanov of Russia. All I would expect them to be up there in that leading group.
I think, really, Stuart, looking at that, the pace has gone off so fast. We've become accustomed to seeing, particularly in the men's side of triathlon, that there will be a very, very tight pack coming out. Now, we've got a split here. We've got a stretch of around 10, perhaps 12 athletes who are really stringing out. And as you said, on the first lap, I think that could be significant. So many things going through their head. It's not the 2-hour race. The critical points have to be at the beginning of the swim. If you lose your established place in the pack early on, it's so difficult to catch up, particularly, and we'll talk through it, of course, as they come into transition.
Big crowd, as you see. Very, very supportive of the British competitors here. And this, as you said, is a big, fast swim. We could be looking at something under 18 minutes here. It's a very fast swim indeed. And I just wonder whether this fella can keep up the second lap, Mr. Vasiliev of Russia. He's very experienced in World Championship performances. Not done particularly well until 2006 when he was 4th, 3rd in 2007, 10th last year. So he's been around, so he's experienced. So this wouldn't be, one would expect him to be having a go at this. And he's got a good lead, hasn't he?
Right, it's just taking that group of 10 or 12 away very early on.
There's Gomez, number 2. And I'm just looking at 59 there. That looks like a 59 to me. And that would be Brian Fleischman of the United States of America up in that leading pack. It looks a bit tired up front, you know. I think he's really hammered it, and we'll see. When he comes out of the water, he might be going after the $500 prize.
Stuart, I think you're entirely right there. Just looking at there in that... we see this great body rotation. That seems to have disappeared very, very early on. But maybe he's established what he wanted to do, and that was to break away from the whole pack. Well, Gomez looking very comfortable in about 5th or 6th place. I think that was Brownlee just on his right.
Just looking back to the Olympic Games where Gomez, of course, was injured before the Olympics. He had a bit of an Achilles problem, which caused him a few problems during the Championships. He still came 4th, and he was 8th out of the swim in the Olympics. So, you know, he is one of the top swimmers around, and his running is good, his biking is all round. Well, you'd expect that from a world champion and someone who is the new European champion as well. And he has been beaten by Brownlee, but they're coming very close together in the most recent outing. I think there was a victory to Gomez in the European Championship, so we'll see.
It's very exciting. I think what excites me about Alistair Brownlee is that he has no fear. He's prepared to go flat out on the swim, accelerate on the bike, and then sprint in on the run. It's a big old cliche, but that's how he approaches his races. However hard the bike is, he's prepared to really put himself on the edge for it.
Now, looking at that picture, they'll come round that buoy on the left of your shot and into the ramp at the bottom left of your shot, just for a brief moment, and they'll come out of the water and then go in again for the second shorter lap. And then once they've completed that, they will come into transition just in front of us here, where their bikes are stacked. And they're all stacked in ranking order. So that means that Brownlee's is number 1 right at the right-hand side as we sit, and the lesser ranked are down on the left, way to the bottom at 66. But this is going to be very interesting to see who makes a little bit of a surge at the end, and it looks as though they are closing down on Vasiliev. He's had a little look again to that finish, and I think Gomez is there. Where is Alistair? I think he could be in that leading 3 or 4.
Well, I had Alistair at 5th or 6th with Calderfelt and Gomez just around with him there. So the big players, the athletes that we knew we'd be looking out for, they have established their place early on. What we haven't seen is Will Clark, Tim Don, Stuart Hayes from Great Britain.
Well, here we go then. So the first man out, just a little bit of a look, and he's won himself $500 for that. And just, what, 8.52, 8.53 for that first lap. So this is quite quick. That can't be 1,000 metres at 8.53. However, the second lap then, the second lap that they're going barking on now. Brownlee looked 9 seconds down.
Well, that was actually Jonathan Brownlee there, Stuart. Jonathan Brownlee. So Alistair's up there 5 or 6 seconds down.
Yeah.
Very, very handy place. But what a boost for Johnny Brownlee. 19 years old, 3rd of Europeans this year of the junior ranking. And he really is up there with the big boys.
Well, it's quite a family, isn't it? The younger brother of Alistair. And the rest come forth, and they'll go now into the second lap. It's difficult getting out of the water. It does give us a chance to have a little look and see who's around. Bit slippy on that end of the pontoon, I must say. And look at that. There's the lead. Some of them are already 100 or more metres ahead of the rest of the field.
Well, that has really spearheaded out, hasn't it? We've got a leading group there of 10, 12 athletes, and they're spread over 6 to 10 metres perhaps, and then another 20 metres going back with the athletes just strung out. And this could be critical. We always say how important it is to get that good transition, to get the good place up there. But with athletes dropping 10 or 15 seconds away from leading points, then it's going to be very, very difficult.
Well, we heard from young Alistair Brownlee in the build-up to the race. Let's find out a little bit more now about the men he's up against today.
2006 world champion Tim Don has had a season blighted by injury, but the Londoner will fancy his chances on home turf.
I tore my calf and took a while for it to get better, so this is the first race I'm actually hitting full fitness, full confidence, ready to go. So, you know, I like to win.
Will Clark is another home favourite who arrives here on the back of a victory in the Docklands London Triathlon. The former under-23 world champion is fully focused on success here.
Deep down, this is the real hard one where it's all the best guys in the world, pretty much literally. It's like it is a world championship now, so it's going to be a really hard race. If I can get top 5, I'll be stoked.
But the big threats could come from overseas. Aussie Brad Calderfelt has twice been a runner-up this year. The man from Wagga Wagga definitely feels the overall title is up for grabs.
2 races left before the final, double point in the final, so yeah, who knows. I'm going into this race quite confident. The training's been going quite well, and yeah, all systems go.
Jared Shoemaker is the top-ranked American. He outran the field in Hamburg last time out to record his first win at this level.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm a racer. I love racing, so I don't know. Anytime I want to race, just get out there, go for it. And I've basically been focusing on just traveling all over the world and racing this year.
But they're all in the shadow of the current world and European champion, Javier Gomez. He's normally the man to fear on such occasions, but even he knows when he's met his match in a certain Mr. Brownlee.
He's the one to beat for everyone. He won 3 World Championship series, and that's really good for him. But yeah, we'll try to give our best to beat him.
Well, you've seen now who he's up against, and there may be others as well. But this second shorter lap being embarked upon by the swimmers, not a great deal of change, as you can see, although the extended lead, we shall get a better view of it as they come into transition for the first time. Now, Steve, the thoughts going through the athletes now as they come in or towards the end of the 1,500 metre swim, they'll be thinking about transition. They haven't got the wetsuits to take off, that's the first thing. So what will their thoughts be?
Thoughts are going to be, how quickly can I get in and out? We're seeing what's happening on the swim now. There is a lead pack, and that established themselves very quickly. We had a brave lead out, athletes who went with it. They've made their mark. Now, I think there's about 20, maybe 25 swimmers in that long, loose pack. And even at this early stage, it could be crucial, it could be critical for them to establish a working group to get away. We know it is draft legal. The swimmers turn to cyclists, turn to runners. They're allowed to take pace on the bike, and this is what is going to make or break it. Now, there is that gap, Stuart. Looking at that aerial view there is a huge gap there of perhaps 20 seconds from that long strung-out lead pack.
Well, I think we know that in the past, you don't have to win the swim, but you've got to be there or thereabouts, and you've got to have enough reserve to get onto the bike and to give yourself that platform on which to run 10 kilometres. It's 40 kilometres on the bike ahead of them. They've got 8 laps of 5,000 metres. So it's pretty tough, but the course is quick.
Well, it looks very, very quick, and the swimmers in the lead pack, it looks like we're getting 3 just a tiny bit away. That's not crucial, but what is means that these leading athletes will have so much more room in transition, and the chance of any mishaps, the chance of any accidents is going to be very much lowered.
Well, certainly the elite of the elite will have the furthest to go to greet their bikes, because Gomez and Brownlee will have to run right the way down the furthest to get hold of the bicycle, because they are the elite end of the transition. And of course the time for transition is so important tactically, particularly with the bike and particularly with the swim.
Now, this swim does look extremely fast, and I think we're looking at around 18 minutes and a few seconds for this 1500 metre swim. Well,
Vasiliev of Russia has really pounded his way into this, hasn't he? And he was determined, and really he has finished 5th in Madrid, so he's getting better and better, that's for sure, because he started off with a 16th placer in Hamburg. So we'll see what his biking's like. Didn't go to the Olympic Games in Beijing, so in that sense an unknown quantity. Although in the series, there's Gomez again, having a closer look at him. It's 26, so much more than those statistics reveal. He's had injuries, as I said at the beginning, but he is recovering very, very fast indeed, and he's up there, and that's very important. 33, I think that is there. That's Jonathan Brownlee, you're quite right, we've seen him up there. He's had a very good swim indeed, so the Brownlee's doing quite well.
Well, they've had the best of the swims. It's fine to lead the swim, as you said, Stuart, but what is critical is once you establish your position, if you can get on the feet, if you get on the hips of the swimmer in front of you, then the energy output is that much lower, 10 or 15% lower. You're almost cruising, and you're going into the transition area mentally much more alert. And of course, that mental alertness means that you're going to be out on the bike starting very, very strong and already planning ahead to decide, do I want to stay with the pack? Am I going to try and make an early break? Do I cover any breaks? It's looking at the short-term and the long-term strategy, and they're beginning to plan right now.
Well, we've got 7 or 8 swimmers certainly coming in. They've got another boy to go, and then they'll turn in left and they'll come towards the exit and into transition, and we shall check them out as they come down into the straightway towards us to give you a better identification who's there. But pretty well in that leading group, everyone we've mentioned is there or thereabouts. The Brownlees will be there, Carveld will be there, the Australian. Gomez certainly is there. I would expect Polyansky and Brukhankov to be there as well, the 2 Russians. There are so many in contention at this stage. But certainly this part of the event will be taxing for most. Now then, there you can see the exit. They'll turn left and they're heading towards the exit now. They'll go right once they come out, and then they'll turn left into transition, and we'll pick them up as they come into transition.
Well, swimmers really coming through now, looking up, just looking to sight. The swimmers in that lead pack, getting as close as they can They want to be out early on, they say, and off they're coming through. We said 18 minutes for the swim, just under 18 minutes as they've come out, and that really is extremely fast, particularly without the benefit of wetsuits in this 21-degree plus water temperature.
So here they come into the straight. Vasiliev is there, Brownlee is there, Jonathan Brownlee. And this is everybody who's anybody is here. Graham, you're in transition. Give us a view from there.
Yeah, we're in transition. We can see Gomez and Brownlee running in. Brownlee getting his bike now. Michelle, Brownlee's bike's racked right at the end there. So that was a bit of an advantage, wasn't it? He could run without his bike.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's an advantage coming out of the swim, but later on, when they come into the second transition, I don't think it's going to be so much an advantage for him, more of a disadvantage.
Because he's got to run with his bike all the way racket here before he can get his shoes on.
That's right. So while the guys are putting their shoes on up the other end, he's still running with his bike down to this end. So
now there's a big gap. Question is, will this group be able to stay away?
Yeah, this could be crucial. There's some really strong guys in that front pack, and this second lot of guys now are running through, and it's quite a big pack. But when you've got a small group away like that, these guys will put their head down and start working together. That's
so if they all work hard together, it's about a 20-second gap. They could pull that away.
Most definitely. This has happened in a couple of races earlier in the year, and Alice is actually the one that initiates the break as well. So
brilliant. It's all looking good so far. Back to you, Stuart.
Well, thanks, Graham. He's a prime mover, certainly is Alistair Brownlee. He's a very, very competitive now with 3 wins, as I said earlier, already in this World Championship series. You're getting a look now at how far the rest are behind. Stu Hayes just over a minute 10 behind, but there are the rest of the field as they go through to transition and go out onto the second of the disciplines. To remind you, 8 laps of 5,000 metres to make the 40k. And we'll see. This is going to be pretty quick, I think. This leading group will want to get away if they can. Just a little adjustment to the footwear at that particular point.
Well, there were some big gaps there, Stuart. We had Will Clark was over 40 seconds down, and both Tim Don and Stuart Hayes a minute down on the swim. I can't think when last Stuart Hayes was a minute down on the swim. We're used to him, said the leaders. It looks like they've really got the mettle here on that lead group. They will have looked behind in transition, seen what sort of time gaps there were over what they perceive as the threats, and I think they're going to be working very, very hard early on. I hope so. I'd love to see an honest cycle race where we get a lead group working and working.
Well, that's Daniel Unger on that bike. Daniel Unger, he's competed in 3 of the races. The best performance in Kitzbühel at 5th place, but he's done nothing in the other 2. So that's interesting. And there's Brownlee coming in to pick up the bike. Alistair Brownlee. Have a look at the technique. Gomez next to him, isn't he?
It's so good. You look at Alistair there, 3, perhaps 4 seconds. He's going out with just a quick glimpse there with Gomez, the shoes attached onto the bike. Alistair, of course, the same. Poliensko along with them. It's this attention to detail. There's Johnny Brownlee coming through. Johnny Brownlee just 19 years old, and he's up there and he's absolutely flying.
Well, there's certainly a confidence about the young man, isn't there? He's learning from his brother. And once you start to get to the big performances, then you start to believe, particularly if it's in the family. And you can start to make headway in that respect.
This is what I like about Alistair Brownlee. I mean, it's just pure, unadulterated effort there. There's no thoughts of sitting back, no thoughts of, well, you know, we'll just take it easy and we'll see what we can do on the run. He's a man who's committed to go from the front. The other athletes know that. He may be young, he's been world champion twice at junior under 23 level, and these more experienced athletes in terms of age and the races that they've done know that when Alistair Brownlee is at the front of a race, he will make it honest. Certainly Javier Gomez does. They've raced each other many times now. A great respect there, and they know what their strengths are, they know what their weaknesses are, and they know that actually there are very few weaknesses.
Well, certainly Gomez was up there in that leading group. He was in 2nd place as I looked. There's Vidal and House. Tayama, I mentioned him in the run-up to the swim. He is a very fine swimmer and obviously has featured quite well. Now then, let's see how this develops now. Well, look, I'm just sorry about that. Is Jonathan Brownlee? He's really having a good go at this, isn't he?
Let's have a look at that speed. 47 kilometres. I'm sure you can see on your screen. We're racing at 30 mile an hour. 30 mile an hour after a swim, which was really quite extraordinary. It was, I'm not sure, but I clocked it at around 2 minutes 5 seconds for the first 200 metres, around 3:15 up to the turning point. That was so fast. Both the Brownlee brothers, Freddie Belobra there from France as well. So we have Gomez, Freddie Belobra, the Brownlee brothers. We've got a break pack of 5. Vasilia Fizer certainly deserves that with the effort of that swim. This could be something very special. They're working through the 5, turn around. They get to the front. They've got just 10 seconds lead at the moment. And this is where the focus and the concentration must come in if they intend to stay away.
Steve, whilst we look at this 6th race, this is a new series, isn't it? I mean, we go forward to Yokohama for the 7th and then to the Gold Coast Grand Final on September the 13th. Now, there are 2 things coming out of the Grand Final on the Gold Coast. 1, it's a one-off race for a world title, and 2, it will be the decider on points over all the 8 competitions or series here to decide who is the series leader. So there are 2 things to be won on that last event. And what are your thoughts on that? It's new, isn't it?
It's new. It's very exciting. Talking to the athletes, they think it's a fantastic idea. It's almost... It is not almost, it's certainly a development for the ITU World Cup, and it's taken the ITU World Cup to another level. Now, going into the World Championship final, it is the best 4 events that count. 800 points for a win on these lead-up events, and then 1,200 for the final. So it would be possible, theoretically, to be able to go into that World Championship final with a very, very strong lead. However, realistically, we're going to have a lot of people up there and about, and I think it's going to come down to that World Championship final in mid-September.
Alistair Brownlee just happy to let the others go through. Number 12 there, Vasiliev. He's been involved right the way through this. Gomez is up there in that leading group as well. So is Jonathan. The 2 Brownlees still there, and that'll help. I just wonder whether Jonathan will try and help his brother on this occasion in terms of competing as a team, within a team.
Well, we seem to have 2 breakaway groups now. That lead group of swimmers are around 20 coming through. I think we'll get a time check as they come right past us here.
Well, it's Jonathan Brownlee who's leading them through, actually. There's Belobra. They've given Delobra, but in fact, as it came past us, Jonathan took over.
What's exciting for me is that lead group of 5. They really are working as a team. Now, whether there was a pre-plan there, certainly Alistair and Johnny will have talked about it, but they've got 5 strong cyclists who seem to prepared to really work together. It is like a time trial team. They're going to the front, 5-10 revolutions of the pedal, immediately they're turning and coming back, and with that group chasing there, that's Carlefelt in the second group, and they're catching. So this is critical time. It's first critical time on the bike of whether they try to go for it or whether they just back slightly.
Just a mention on Frederic Belobra. He was 10th in the Olympic final in Beijing. He was right up the front in the swim. He was 21st fastest bikers there, so we would expect him to be there or thereabouts, coming through very strongly on the run at the end. He was one of the best runners, so watch for him. Tim Don going through there. Will Clark has ran the London 10K road race this year against some of the top African runners to get some experience. Was well beaten, but still came around about the 30-minute mark, which is the sort of time that one would expect for the 10K for a triathlon. And but this very tight, these corners, and of course you've got to be very, very careful indeed. It's very easy to make contact. Gomez is there, isn't he, up in that leading group. There's Jonathan Brownlee looking around behind, see who's there, but they really are hitting this. They're moving very, very quick. This is very quick. This course is quick. The run course is incredibly quick as well.
Well, we've got somebody's joined that lead group. We've got a 6-man lead group now, but the second group have really strung out. So it's going to be critical now. Again, we see the single lining. They're not moving over so quickly. So that first 5-kilometre lap has taken its toll on the legs there. This is where it's going to really come down to pure guts and determination. If they can carry on working together, they will establish a much, much bigger gap from the chasers there. It's... Well, we're watching through the big group coming through now. We've got a bit of a re-establishment there.
Still nothing significant happening, as one would expect after the first of the laps, but there is the situation after lap 1. Belobra, Brownlee, Jonathan and Alistair there, Gomez, Vasiliev, we saw him come in the sprint, Brukhanov of Russia is there. There are the rest. Let's see where Chris Gemmell, the New Zealander, Tayama of Japan. There's Will Clark. It's 51 seconds down, so that's quite a big bit. I wouldn't expect him to be quite that far down.
I think it's just an example of just how fast the swim was. Yeah, Tim Don, Will Clark, Stuart Hayes, that far down. We never see that. We don't even see that in the World Cup competition, the World Series. I think we've seen one of the fastest ever swims in triathlon here today.
Yeah, I agree with that. It certainly was very quick. I mean, it was a flat water. There wasn't a great deal of undulation in the water, and when they've got onto the bikes, there's a little bit of an uphill at the start of the circuit. It's a little bit undulating, but generally considered to be flat. Very, very technical, I would think, from the point of view of the triathletes.
I think so. I think it's flat, but it is that just braking of the speed as they're going into the tight bends, and then the acceleration up and after. So there's two Brownlee brothers still working right the way through. Who's that? Freddie Belobra going through as well.
That's Fleischmann, number 59 there, the American. He didn't go to the Olympic Games. He's had one appearance in this World Series in Washington at home. He was 28th in that. So at this particular point, promising a bit more than that.
Well, we've got some calls there. Come and do some work, they're saying. If you don't do some work, we're not going to keep this lead away. Well, we've seen what's happened already, working so hard. And then we have the chase group. Well, that's going to have Stuart Hayes, Will Clark and Tim Don in that chase group, around 50 seconds, 1 minute down.
Well, that is Sven Riederer of Switzerland. And that the number 14 there. Just saying, come on, let's get some help up front. Nobody wants to take this on.
They're really stuck here, aren't they? Everybody's persuading everyone else to come and do the work, and they're also thinking, well, that's fine, but if you don't work, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to give you a free ride. They've got to re-establish themselves. We've seen in previous races over the years how a gap, a minute or so, can get right the way down.
Just pointing out where they are on the course. That's quite nice, and the trailing group as well there. They're 49 seconds down. Distance to go, 31.2 kilometres. Clark Elise of New Zealand took over the lead as we were away at that map, and they're now beginning to make it very tactical, saying each of them taking the lead. There's a lot of drafting going on in that field, Steve.
There's a lot of drafting. It's good drafting, Stuart. There was a bit of a hiatus in the action where the two groups got together, the two lead groups. And now with this 11 or 12, they'll be getting information out on the course. They'll know that some of the favourites are actually almost a minute behind. They need to stay away on this. And certainly if they can work together, a group of 11 or 12, that's manageable. It's when we get the very, very big groups that it's difficult to rotate, to get to the front, to get back and take pace. But 11 or 12, this should be a very, very strong working lead group.
Well, one thing's absolutely certain: they are working hard now. This is not anything other than very, very quick now. What they're having in bursts, there are bursts going on here. Then they're slowing down. Someone else takes the lead. It's very tactical, and it'll be so interesting to see what happens at the end of this. There's still a long, long way to go on this 40-kilometre bike. They're in, with just over 30 kilometres to go. It's a long, long way, and they're travelling, as you say, at 30 miles an hour. Vasiliev, who led out of the swim, 5th in Madrid, getting better, 10th in the World Championships in 2008. So he's there, and of course we've mentioned once again that's Jonathan Brownlee. Jonathan just putting a bit of pressure on. Look at this. There are surges going on all over the place.
Isn't it fantastic to watch? I mean, we talk about triathlon as the three-ring circus, that add in the transition, but the fascination of working so hard so early on the bike, regardless of what it's going to do to your legs as you go onto the run. Alistair Brownlee, Jonathan Brownlee, my goodness me, 19-year-old coming into a race like this, and really one of the people who's making his mark so early on.
Josh McHugh of Australia. In that leading group at the moment. But let me just tell you, we're in the mid-stage or early stages of this cycle discipline. The ITU World Championship, let me remind you, it's not only for elite triathletes, but also has a major age group race too. If you'd like to participate in the 2010 event, you can register your interest at, and here comes the website, www.triathlon-wcs-london.org. You can also register and find out more about the sport at www.britishtriathlon.org. So it's not just the elite that this event is interested in, so come along and join, and those two websites will help you to do that.
That lead group established. Oh, there's Tim Don. Tim Don trying to break away. The chase group around 45, 46 seconds down. So a slight closing of the gap, but we saw when the two lead groups merged that there was a bit of a hesitation there, people unwilling to do the work. They seem to have re-established that, the work ethic is back on there. Tight turn, bit of a slowdown, hands over the brakes, reluctant to touch them, they don't want to do that, and then the big acceleration and the kick out of the turn.
Looks like Gomez up there as well still. He's in the Spanish kit. He's such a good competitor, and when you come fourth in the Olympic Games with the injury that he had to an Achilles, which is more significant, of course, in the 10-kilometre run at the end, but there you've got a 44-second gap between the lead group and the chase group. That's not at all significant, and that could well come down. It depends what this group at the front do.
It's entirely up to that. If they don't work that 40 seconds plus, that will just disappear in a couple of laps' time. If they do work, they're in a much better position to work. With only a dozen of them up there, it's a lot easier to take pace and rotate.
Daniel Unger, 6th in the Olympic final. The man leading here. He's put a little bit of a burst on. There's about a 10-metre gap. He's trying to establish himself in the race. He's run and competed in 3 of the events so far. This is his 4th. Number 18 there, I haven't mentioned David House of France. We've seen him. Is that that's the second group, isn't it?
I think it's absolutely the second group.
Yes, it's got to be, yes, it is.
Yeah, we've just got a dozen there in the lead group. As you said, Brett Carlefeld from Australia, Javier Gomez, the two Brownlee brothers, Freddie Balobra from Freddie Balobra. It's a couple of quiet years, but just 3 or 4 years ago, he was really establishing himself on the ITU World Cup circuit. The time gap is critical. It was around a minute. It was down to 50 seconds, 44 seconds the last check that we had. If they don't work at the front, that can close so quickly.
Yeah, that's Teyama in a trail group, I think. That's Teyama leading that group there. The Japanese triathlete. One of the best swimmers, actually, in the field, and a very good Olympics. There's Gomez. And Gomez putting the pedal down. Brownlee's there, the two Brownlees. There's Alistair on the left of the shot. Number 5 is Polyansky of Russia. Now, he's done pretty well. He's had, 4 top 10 finishes in the race. Now, he's got a heart monitor which is saying his heart rate is 160 and it's working at 85% max. Well, there you go, a little bit of technology for you in the midst of that. He's got a heart monitor on him. Several of them have.
But these guys are working at 85% of max. That is probably just tipping into anaerobic threshold. So they will be happy to stay at that sort of heart rate, not for just an hour in a race, but for 2, 3, 4 hours out on the bike. You know that, Stuart, but for your time in track and field athletics. But it's lovely to see the technology being used, not just in training, but also for us to get a monitor feedback during the races.
Well, there's Gomez now. He must be in about 8th place now. He's dropped back in the field, but that happens. Vasiliev, look, who the number 12 is off the back of that group there. We shall see. There's Brownlee.
These guys are just monitoring through now. We've got this straight away on the far side of the park from where we're based on transition area. And that's sure, they're going to take a very short break. They see what's happening, monitor their own positions.
I tell you what, we thought that House was leading the trail group. He's not. He's up there at the front of that group there. And he was wearing the number 18, the Frenchman. Didn't compete in the Olympic Games. Now Gomez is beginning to take it over. Belobra there as well. And Brownlee, Gomez. Well, Gomez comes here with a real pedigree, and he is so difficult to beat. Let me repeat, it's 3-1 to Brownlee, but I have to say, forget that statistic. Each race is separate, and this fella is very, very strong. It's very strong indeed. He's ranked number 3 on the series thus far, behind Brownlee. And, of course, you've already heard that one man, the leader of that series, is missing today. Is having one more race, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, it only counts on the 8th when you add them all up, I guess.
But let's have a think about the mindset of the two Brownlee brothers here, Stuart. Here they are in Hyde Park, 3 years before the Olympic Games to be held in London. They're both in great form. They're both young. They're both enthusiastic. They both have no fear. They both know that their brother is up there with them, two of the best athletes in the world. Now, mentally, that must make them so strong, so enthusiastic, not just for 3 years' time. Of course, they're looking forward to the Olympic Games, but what a bonus to win on the Olympic venue 3 years before we come down to it.
That's Polyansky of Russia making some move now, and Brownlee goes, and that's Alistair Brownlee. Look at Polyansky responding. Belarus it is. Belobra, I should say, the Frenchman, and Gomez coming past. They're all coming past.
They're just working so well together. It's big cliche, a well-drilled team, a well-oiled machine, whatever we want to say. Look at them. There's the double line. It's like a chainsaw. Get off the front, start working your way back, wind yourself back up into the lead.
Well, it certainly is becoming a very, very interesting race, this. House it is coming through. He is the leader now. Both the Brownleys are there. So is Gomez there. Polyansky is there. I don't know whether Brukhankov is there, the other Russian. I haven't seen him or recognised him. Let's have a look. Oh, there he is. Look, in 10th place. He's only a second down, so he's in that leading group as well. And he is one of those they've got to watch out for as well.
What we need to watch out for now is just what that time gap is. We said it came down from a minute to 50, around 44 seconds on the previous lap. And it is dropping again. Now look at that, 33, 35 seconds. So they are gradually catching in.
Well, there was Tim Don at the head of that group there. So they are catching. And it's a big group, isn't it? I mean, this is going to be a very, very tactical affair when it comes to 10,000 metres of running. It's absolutely clear.
It is. I think there's going to be more things happening here. We've seen the work at the front. What we haven't seen, of course, is just how hard they must be working in the chase pack. They're just edging back second by second. It's gone down 7 seconds, 8 seconds, another 7 seconds. So they're gradually drawing in. They have to be working hard in the chase group. And we talk about the effort on the legs going into the run for the lead group. That's equally relevant with the chasing group.
Well, that's Josh McHugh leading, the Australian. Not a great deal of form. He's not that old. He was fourth in the Oceanian Under-23 Championship, and that's pretty well the most we've got for him on the major championship scene, so he's not doing too badly. There's Tayama, and you can see how psychologically interesting this course is. You're going one way, you're seeing them coming the other way, so you can judge how far you are behind.
It is, and they'll be getting time checks out there. They'll have the coaches out there, team managers, just telling the group closing down. They'll be getting advice, which they may or may not choose to listen to. But what is certain, that if this lead group don't keep working, say the lead group, we're looking at the chase group right now, Will Clark there in the chase group doing his work at the front. Now we're back on the leaders. If they don't keep working, then all that hard work established in the swim and the first couple of laps on the bike is going to come to nothing. And again, mentally then, that's when the doubts seem to set in. We've worked so hard, we haven't managed to stay away. What's going to happen on the run?
Well, Callum Millward as well up there, so two Oceanian triathletes up in that leading group. 23:20 to go, so they're not quite halfway on this venture.
They're absolutely flying. We knew the time check early on, the speed check early on was coming up to 30 miles an hour.
Polyansky of Russia being overtaken. There's Alistair Brownlee, all in a good position, just slows down a little bit, lets them come through. The toing and froing, a little look over the shoulder, a big smile on his face. Must be feeling good.
Isn't it great? Just the sheer enjoyment of doing something that you love and doing it so well.
Well, he certainly reached a level of fitness that we haven't seen before. I mean, he was 12th in the Olympic Games, was Brownlee. He was the 25th best cyclist on that Olympic course. 12th best runner, because he's got a very good cross-country background. We'll talk more about that later on. And he will certainly be a real threat, I would think.
And I think that's got to be Will Clark there, hasn't it? Just leading out on the chase group, so we can get a...
Yes, it is. It is Will Clark indeed. And that looks like Aaron Harris coming through as well on that group. So
Aaron Harris, certainly a name for the future. He's come through very quickly and was establishing his credentials already. I think he got. I think he was actually runner-up in the national sprint final.
Well, looking down at this course, it is majestic, isn't it? And we so look forward to 2012. This is the Olympic course. There'll be seating for about 3,000 at the finish, and that really will be quite something. 22.4 kilometres to go, so, you know, that is 54 kilometres an hour. They are motoring.
I tell you what, Stuart, I just got a quick check there. The time gap is down to around 30 seconds. They are closing in so quickly, the chase group.
It'll be to see how much that takes out. There are the Brownleys. Look, there's Jonathan and there's Alistair. That's Jonathan leading Brownlee. Alistair, that's Jonathan the leading Brownlee is what I'm trying to say. There's Alistair there. Brukhanov, the other Russian I was wondering about before, he's there. So this is going pretty well to the form book. Gomez is up there. Where is Gomez? He's up there as well, I think. There he is towards the back, I think.
It's an honest group. They're all working hard. They're all taking their turn. Equally, this chase here as well.
That's Will Clark on the left. Will Clark of Great Britain, 14th in the Olympic final. Experienced as always. He's had 3 attempts. His best performance 10th in Washington DC in this World Championship Series. Terrific event this, and there's so many world-class athletes, as one would expect, have come to London here. And most will be wanting to have a first look at the Olympic course, of course, and then there's 26 seconds down now. So chase group only 26, that's not big.
Well, they've closed 12-13 seconds just on this lap. Just coming up to halfway on the bike section, and that's extraordinarily fast. That really is.
Well, there's Brukhanov of Russia being overtaken once again by Haus of France. And here comes Gomez. Well, it's just one then the other, isn't it? Gomez looks strong, looks comfortable. It's very difficult to judge, though, isn't it, at the moment? And on the left there is Vasiliev. Now, Vasilyev's come back onto the scene. He was dropped off the back of that group for a while, but they must have slowed just slightly to allow him back in. Slowed if we're talking about 54 kilometres an hour.
I think Vasiliev is just sitting there, just taking a very short breather. And, of course, it's really just the single athlete working at the front. As they go back down, as they come back through the line to take their turn at the front, they're still getting a recovery because of just the braking, just the wind hitting them full in the face on that. So that lead group, we're down to 25 seconds. 25 seconds on the chase group. Well, I think they're going to be going around 52, maybe 54 minutes for this full 40-kilometre cycle ride. That is so fast.
Yes, it is. And that just gives the information to the world that this is a very fast course indeed. And let me tell you that the running course too is very, very quick. But there you've got it. Vasiliev, who led out of the swim, has been right to the back. There he is, drifting again to the back. The leader now is Belaubre of France again. Number 59, we've mentioned him several times. Fleischmann of the United States of America. Number 7 there is Vidal, the Frenchman. Haven't mentioned him before. He was 36th in Beijing in the Olympic Games. So this is a creme de la creme again. It is on this day. And there are going to be so many in contention when it comes to running 10,000 metres at the end.
I think there are. I think it's just that turn there. That seems to be the crucial turn where a lot of the speed is lost. They're just backing off. You've got a right-hander, then a left-hander, and it's almost a cruise through. So quite a lot of acceleration required just to build that speed up immediately after the second turn.
Well, there you are, 45.07 after lap 4. They're now into lap 5 of 8. Belaubre, Fleischmann, Teyama. Well, Teyama's going well. Vidal, Gomez, Brownlee. I thought Teyama was in the second group, but he clearly isn't. He's either, well, he certainly hasn't moved up, so he must have been at the back of that lead group. There's Alistair Brownlee, just 1 second down. Forget those ones, because that means they're all in that leading group, and the 25s mean that the trailing group are now 25 seconds behind, and all together.
It's almost a matter of luck and chances who crosses over the line when we get the time checks through. But as you say, Stuart, what is crucial is that time gap. Still working well together. I'm astounded by the speed of the second group. It's so much more difficult to really work when there's a huge group there. Now, these guys are just beginning to have a little bit of a think about it.
Jonathan Brownlee, Alistair Brownlee, up in there they are, right at the front. The two black strip there. Gomez is there as well. Well, Jonathan is going pretty well, isn't he? He was 13th in the Kitzbühel event, the 19-year-old younger brother of Alistair. And my goodness, Belorbre is there, Vidal is there. There's Gomez on the left, just going out of shot on the left. Here comes Vidal, the Frenchman. He's been around a bit. He didn't do well in the Olympics, but my goodness, he's had 3 top 10 finishes in the series so far. Slowed down a little bit by 10 kilometers an hour. Now that gives us a clue. Now if we will see where there's the second group at the bottom of the picture. Just briefly there, we saw that there's about 150, 200 meters up to the bend, and then after the bend the same distance. So it's an 8-lap course. Each of the laps 5,000 meters. We've seen 4. The next time check we'll get at 5 laps. That's a wonderful sight once again. I keep repeating this, but it is a magnificent aerial view of this Olympic course, with the Serpentine on the left, that lake created in 1730. It was the first naturally built lake, actually. I did a bit of history, looked that up. Little look over the shoulder, but they are moving fast. Now, who's that? Who's pulled out? Looks like a faller. Oh, it's Gomez!
Oh, my goodness.
Gomez has gone! Oh, Gomez has gone! Look at the graze on his shoulders. Well, that is a big, big call. I didn't see what happened. I don't think we saw what happened, but he's got a massive graze on his right shoulder. Let's have a look here. There's the fall. There's where the bike goes over. And that is unfortunate. No, he was really one of the big favourites here. And that's very, very disappointing. He's had so much injury in the past going into the Olympic Games. Look at that graze on his shoulder. He must have come down very heavily indeed.
But there's no other, well, it appears there's no other athletes involved there, Stuart. So I doubt very much if he's gone into another bike. What's happened there? I'm sure we'll get some feedback later on. But yeah, poor Javier Gomez. He'll be so frustrated more than anything.
Well, I think so. He was going pretty well, wasn't he? I mean, he was in the group. He may well have come to grief. I mean, we picked up the picture a little bit later. It may well have been that, but now Brownlee won't probably know about that. Certainly Polanski of Russia. Brownlee's having a little look behind. That's Alistair.
It is that frustration now, isn't it? They've worked so hard to get this lead. They're coming into the second half now of the cycle section.
That was Alistair telling Jonathan to come through. Now, they're obviously working as a team here. You saw him turn around and signal, now, come on, come up the front, lead it a bit, let's see what's happening, and now get on with it, he's saying. Go, 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 let's go.
Well, he's doing that well, and, you know, we're really coming up to the 15 kilometres to go mark very, very shortly, so they have to keep it there. Again, we'll get a time check, I'm sure, at the end of this lap, the 25-kilometre mark, but if it has gone down significantly more, to my frustration, I guess that we may well see a huge pack coming in together. It'll be great for the run, it'll be very exciting, but I do love watching the honest race, and you know, when people are prepared to work so hard on the bike, if they get caught right at the end, again, mentally, what does that do to you? We've worked so hard, and well, we can see what's happening right now, Stuart, can't we?
Well, House and Vidal, the leading two. I think House of France was leading just by a little bit, but there's nothing in it at all. Now this is a trail now of... Now Brownlee is just one. Look at this. They're all, that's the leading group. They're all so very, very close.
And there's one or two riders in the front there. A pretty
nothing. Absolutely nothing. 14 seconds down. That's going to close on this lap, I'm sure.
Yep. This is going to bring them all together. Vidal is now leading, certainly. And Belorbre, the Frenchman, is there. So is David Haas. The two Frenchmen are in second and third at this stage. Now then, I'm just... it's very tight round that corner. Now there's another casualty. Now who is that?
Well,
then that engineer coming in. Talk a little bit about the stations around the course.
You know, things do happen. We have punctures. You can see there the wheels all marked with the names and numbers of the athletes. If there is a puncture, the athletes will try to come through as much as they possibly can and then just change the wheel as quickly as they can.
Is that Stu Hayes? Well, that's what a caption is saying, and I'm not sure that was on course, so that could have been Stu. There's Tayama, tailing on the back of that lead group. Now that is another look at, there's Jonathan Brownlee in there, so he's dropped back a little bit after surging. They're the two Frenchmen, there are three Frenchmen up there by the look of it. And the Brownlees are both up there in that leading group.
And the time gap still coming down, that turnaround, they will have seen the athletes in the respective groups, know exactly what they've got to do now. Less than 15 kilometres to go on the cycle section.
Yes, if you're just joining us, it's 40 kilometres in total. Now there's Brukhankov, Alistair.
Now there's a frustration, isn't there? The shaking of the head there, all the hard work, now what's going to happen?
Well, that was Belorbre, wasn't it? Well, it's all change. A little bit of drafting, a little bit of surging, and very much tactical. 10 seconds behind, so you're virtually looking, well, there it is, you've got a good shot there. There's about what, a couple of hundred meters or so,
if probably, that, I guess,
if that, between the lead group. And all of a sudden now that Belorbre now puts down the pedal, and so does Haas, these two.
Well, we're seeing an effort there at the front. I mean, maybe we're even going to have a break on that lead group.
Well, this is the point at which the two groups are coming together, aren't they? They really are closing in. There's a little gap at the front now, so there's a little splinter group opened up at the front, but it is spreading out. You can see that those at the front of the trailing group have now accelerated, recognising they can get on the back. So that's why they're strung out now, because those that believe have gone forward to try and join the lead pack.
And we're looking there, we saw both the Brownlee brothers and Frédéric Belorbre trying very, very hard to get away. I mean, I guess psychologically the time to do, physically very, very difficult, but if they want to maintain that gap, they have to go now. Once they re-establish as a very big group, if they do, it'll be so hard to get away.
They are well strung out, as you can see. Alistair Brownlee. This is the point at which he's saying, come on, get on with it, you're too slow.
Absolutely.
He's just called his brother through. He said, you know, get up there and let's get going. And now he gets up off the saddle to increase his speed, accelerate into the race. This is very interesting, isn't it?
It is a fabulous race. Here we go. But it's hard. Two young British athletes on the Olympic course 3 years before. There's Polyansky there. Polyansky is working hard as well.
Vasiliev is up there. We thought we'd lost him, but Vasiliev is there, the number 12, who led out of the swim. There's Haas, there's Belorbre. I tell you, they're all there, aren't they? Number 63, we haven't mentioned Luciano Farias of Argentina. Here he is, just to the left of your shot. Now they're slowing down again. There's a little surge here and there. I tell you, this gap seemed to have got a little bit of an advantage now. They seem to be getting away, but there's a little bit more work to do yet to make it a significant break, so that when they go into transition and go into the run, well, who knows? But it's still, there's no distance really.
We're back on now. We are in one big group there. Alistair Brownlee, I mean, he went for it. He really put a surge on. He looked behind. There was nobody there, and he said, well, come on, guys. I'm not going to do all the work by myself. I may be young, but I'm not that naive. So what happens now? We've seen one part of the race. Now we're into the second phase. Now, it's nice to see Tim Don back up there. Courtney Atkinson sitting at the back, Stuart. Now, we haven't mentioned Courtney. Just a couple of weeks ago, he ran superbly down in Docklands, only just beaten by Will Clark. And he really is a man in form. If he's had a relatively easy ride on this bike section, I think now the last 10 kilometres or so, it's going to be more or less just turn your legs over, he could be a threat as well.
Well, this is a huge field, isn't it? Absolutely huge. Fleurton of France up there as well. I said there were 3 or 4 Frenchmen up there in that leading group, and they're doing pretty well. He didn't go to the Olympics either, and he hasn't done particularly well in the 2 previous World Series events. He was 24th and 15th. But this is another day, and each race is a new day.
It is. It's however much we try and anticipate, try and guess, put our prognosis in, and the athletes decide, well, you know what? You're the commentators, we're the athletes, we'll decide what to do. But I have to say, I just so respect Alistair Brownlee. He went for it at the front, and so did Freddie Balobra. He really put a lot of work in. Gomez before the accident, people who were working. There goes Balobra again. So maybe it's not all over. Again, maybe we're guessing wrong and people are going to put themselves on the line and try to make a break.
And here they are.
Well, that's Von Berkel.
Look at this.
This is all change. It's a huge group, isn't it? They're coming past us in transition now.
A lot of these competitors have got an uncontrollable appetite for victory, and the ingredients are becoming more and more
Well, as they
spicy.
come through transition, Graham, if I can hand to you, what about some thoughts on the tactics by the Brownlee brothers? They're up there in that leading group, but now that Gomez is gone, I wonder if they'll know about that.
Well, I think that's the good news and the bad news for them, really. The bad news is that they were caught, and it's all a big peloton now. The good news is that they've lost 2 of their biggest competitors for the run, with Gomez crashing out and Jared Shoemaker. He's pulled off his bike as well, hasn't he, Michelle?
That's right. Jared Shoemaker looks as though he may have had a puncture or something like that, and they lost him pretty early. But Gomez has just come off his bike. It looked pretty bad, which is really unfortunate for him, but kind of good news for Alistair in the fact that he's going to have a fairly easy run. They're the 2 key players out of this race.
So Alistair's tactics now are just to sit and try and get a bit of recovery before the run?
Well, yeah, I think now that pack's come together, I think that he's just going to be sitting in and waiting for that run now, because he'll want to take that run out hard and get rid of these guys.
Brilliant. How much of an advantage is it sitting on someone's wheel?
It's about, you save around about 30%, I think, of energy sitting on someone's wheel. And someone like Stuart Hayes has just punctured, and he's lost a lot of time, and he's now going to have to bridge back up and waste up a lot of that energy. So he's going to be feeling the pinch there.
So, of course, the leading pack were working hard, but then the chase pack have worked hard as well. Do you think there's been anyone in that chase pack who's just sat there and rested?
Definitely. There was a lot of guys sitting in there resting, and they're the smart ones. Like you saw Courtney Atkinson off the back there, sitting in there. He's just finished second at London a couple of weeks ago. So we know he can run. Brad Carterfeld was also sitting in there, another key player in this race. And yeah, they're the people that have been really smart in this race.
So the tactics were just sit in the chasing group, do no work, get it all pulled back together and be fresh for the run.
That's right, and that's why triathlon is triathlon, because it's so unpredictable in what's going to happen. But in fact, there's 2 laps to go, so and here we see now too a break again at the front. So this will be interesting to see what happens here.
Well, handing you back to you, Stuart.
Well, thanks for that, Michelle. That is a fair old insight into what's happening here. That, I think, is Bruno Paes of Portugal in second place there. Now, who's gone into the lead at this stage? Because they look to me to be broken away. Well, have they broken that far away, Steve?
I'm just picking up the picture, Stuart, and it looks like we've got a group of 2 off the front. As you say, I think that certainly was Bruno Paes there. Okay, great. Guts and determination again. Maybe not quite so sure, not convinced of his own running strength, and just thinking, well, if we can catch that sort of distance, maybe we can establish that distance again and take the cushion going into the run. It's not a hard-working chase group now, is it? It really isn't.
No, it isn't. I think that there are those within this group that will be now thinking about 10 kilometres of running. They will think that they've done enough, but just enough. They will probably know. Here's the man we've mentioned, Bruno Paes of Portugal. He was 17th in the Beijing Olympic Games. Oh, it's... who was that in second? I'm just looking very... I think it was Vidal. Was it Vidal of France?
Wild.
Oh, no, it's Wild.
Switzerland.
The Swiss Wild. That's right. Well, Wild has come onto the scene for the first time. We haven't seen him before or mentioned him yet. But that is a big, big break for him.
So what are the pack thinking now? There's 2 athletes away. There's one strung in no man's land. Are they just going to be content, thinking, well, we're getting to near the end of the cycle, we can't do anything, pace coming through? Maybe it's these guys' chance to establish themselves. They certainly didn't feature. They were in the second pack. I guess they were taking it easy. So maybe they thought, well, this really is our opportunity. While people are just sitting back, almost thinking ahead for the run, we have that opportunity to go off in front. 18 seconds gap in a very, very short time, less than half a lap, certainly. I don't know, Stu. I can't see them staying away. However, they're going there 30 miles an hour. That's not easy.
No word about Rudy Wild, the Swiss. He didn't compete in the Olympic Games. He was 51st in the World Championships and didn't finish in the Washington race, the only race that he's performed in. So either he's improved dramatically or this is not at all sensible. Because those that really feel that they're in contention are in the trail group. Head down, aren't they? Really starting to move a little bit. They haven't really challenged that lead, but there's still an opportunity to do that. That may well be too quick, too soon to break away from this group. You never know, but I
love the bravery. I always say that, and I think it's the people who are committed. They will go from the front, as Bruno Pace has decided. If he sees a chance for the victory, a chance for the glory, well, fantastic. But we've seen, even in this race, and we've seen in so many races before, when you do get a chase pack beginning to work together, then that gap can close so very, very quickly.
Well, there are at least 2 in that lead, which means that they can work off each other. So it's not just a lone cyclist that's gone off out front, but the Brownlees are up there as well. As you can still see, they're leading that chasing group. And it's hardly a pack, is it? It's almost the whole course, really. I mean, everybody's there. There are very few off the bat, although there were 66 starters in this. But it's a huge pack chasing now the leading 2.
Well, I guess what we can say with absolute certainty is that the 10K run is going to be absolutely superb. Whether these 2 stay away or not, we have the big runners in the huge pack. We've got Atkinson there, Carterfelt, both the Brownlee brothers. Will Clark back. We know how strongly Will Clark is running at the moment. You mentioned earlier about running the London 10K. I saw him run a half marathon earlier this year and was 3rd in an elite men's field. So he's in great running form.
Well, when you saw that shot, or looking at that shot, you can see that the 2 leaders are working off each other. Number 30 there is Mark Fretter of the United States. Number 28 is Fleurton of France.
Start of the last lap this, and I tell you what, they've made a good strike here.
Well, there's 5,000 metres to go then in this cycle event, and I tell you what, the rest of the pack now know what they've got to do.
Now that's going to come together, I think now, Stuart. 15 seconds. Big effort to break away, but they haven't opened that gap at all. Last lap to go on this one.
And there's not a great deal of proactivity as they go through transition. Look at this. I mean, they will start to work as they get into the course. Look at this. They know, those athletes in there know who's up front, know what they can do, and they know that the margin is not significant enough to worry them.
It's not that what the athletes are going to be thinking about now. They're coming into the last lap. Okay, 5 kilometres to cycle, 7.5, 8 minutes. But what they will want to do is to establish themselves at the beginning of the cycle pack. If they come in towards the end of the pack on the bike, then they're going to be slower into transition, people naturally braking. They're going to have that big time gap going out onto the run.
Could be interesting getting into transition, you're right, because there are so many there that 1 or 2 could get into a little bit of difficulty. And I think there will be a big move to get away in the final stages, even if they don't run these 2 down straight away. I think that there will be a break so that they can get some free running, certainly from Brownlee, I would think.
I think Alistair Brownlee and maybe Brad Carterfelt from Australia. I've seen Brad race many, many times, and he does like to break away from the pack and give himself a little bit of room. I think Alistair's going to make a big effort, and if he doesn't get off the front, he's certainly going to be at the front on this big pack coming into transition.
Accelerating out of the transition area now onto the course itself. The start of the course, a little bit of an incline. You see them on the up on the pedals. It's a little bit of an uphill there, and they'll want to maintain some momentum. And meanwhile, Pays and Wild still have a lead now. It was, what, 15 seconds? We would expect that to come down as they go through this, although they are working quite well together here.
They're working fine together, and you know, if the big pack do sit back, if they feel that these two aren't going to be a threat on the run, then there's really no incentive to try to break the gap down. However, things change, and if they're working hard together, there's two of them, so they're not getting much of a respite after taking their turn at the front. But if the big gap, well, my goodness me, 22 seconds we're up to. That's a lot.
That's spread by an extra 7, so they really have moved away, haven't they?
Well,
by 7 seconds more. So it's 22 seconds now.
Well, that's 150 metres running down the road. Now that's even on 10 kilometres. That's enough.
It's Callum Millwood leading the group now. And I would think there is Alistair Brownlee's third in that chasing group now, and I would think that they'll start to put in some real effort as they approach the final stages of this. There we have it after lap 7. Wild, Pays, Fleischmann, Prochnov. That's Prochnov. We haven't mentioned him before. He's come up as he's the third Russian which has come onto the scene. And Eustace, Fleureton, Millwood and Vincent. I thought that Polyansky was up there as well, and I have a feeling he is.
I'm sure everybody's there in that pack now. We've seen the guys who've been unfortunate enough to have to withdraw with accidents, with misfortunes. But what have we got? Perhaps 3.5, 4 minutes of cycling, and then we're on to the 10-kilometre run.
Little Lark over the shoulder, and once again Pays takes over. So they're doing the right thing as long as they're not expending too much energy towards this, but they know that the run is going to be tough for them. But Pays is an Olympian. He was 17th in the Olympic Games, whereas Wild is not so experienced. He didn't make the Swiss Olympic team. So, and that's the difference between the leading two and the rest of the group following on this final lap. There are the speeds. Alistair's speed 48 kilometres an hour, so it's pretty good.
2 miles to go, 30 miles an hour, 4 minutes. 4 minutes they're in. Wow.
Well, it's going to be 2 men into transition. Well, that's Schumacher of the United States, who we've heard earlier on had pulled out of the race, had a problem. He was one of those that we featured, and he might well be a factor, but no longer. So Gomez and Schumacher have gone.
Well, I've just seen Javier Gomez walking past, looking very disconsolate. Sure he's getting some medical treatment. Well, so 3 minutes to go, 3.5 minutes to go on the bike, and we don't, well, I was going to say we don't seem to have a move now. We do seem to have a little bit of an acceleration. They're not going to close that much time, but they will be looking to get open space for themselves in transition. And of course, this is where accidents can occur. We get people jockeying for position, trying to get themselves through to the front.
And remember, when they come into transition, Brownlee will have the furthest to go. He's got to go right down to the far end to where number 1 is. All the elites are at the far end as they come into transition. So, and of course the preparation. Now they will have prepared their bike, helmet, shoes. Everything is there, isn't it?
Everything is there. The shoes. Sorry, excuse me. They'll be taking their feet out of the shoes, so that as they come off, they get off the bikes. They'll be running barefoot. I remember Peter Robertson, something like 20 miles an hour as he started running into transition. But they'll come through. The running shoes will be held open. There'll be talcum powder, maybe a little bit of grease inside for ease of entry and that. They'll be off the bike. They'll be out on the run in 4-5 seconds. That's all that the transition time will be.
That's Ivan Tutukin of Russia. So the Russians really impressing at the front of this, and it is very, very quick indeed. You can see 2 Russians there. I can see another 2. And here they come into transition. So, Graham Bell, what about this?
Well, they're just coming into transition now. Just looking to see Alistair Brownlee. There's just a bit of confusion about whether they're doing one more lap or not. No, they're definitely into transition because they're off their bikes and they're running. And I can just see Alistair Brownlee running at the front. Of course, Michelle, there is a slight disadvantage of having to run all this distance with your bike. Just trying to find Brownlee. Here he comes. So Alistair's running through, racking his bike. Go on, Alistair. Have a good one. So, Michelle, how quickly will he be able to catch up on the run? He's maybe...
Alistair has a sizzling first kilometre on the run usually. This is where he really puts his hammer down. So, I mean, he's just going to go out as hard as he possibly can and he'll catch these leaders very quickly. But I mean, Brad Carterfeld behind you is limping. Something's happening here. There's all sorts of chaos going on.
Oh,
the two leaders just went straight through as well.
What's happened to him? It looks like someone maybe ran over his foot. Someone's hurt his foot in transition.
Oh dear, yeah, this is not good.
Maybe he's gone over on his ankle, but it looks like his foot is hurt. So this is incredible, really, because Alistair Brownlee's main competitors have all struggled and have all pulled out of the race.
Goodness, this is unbelievable today. I mean, so many things are happening. Gomez crashed, Shoemaker punctured, Brad Carterfeld's just come into transition. He looks like he's hurt his foot. The two leaders who had 20 seconds off the front went straight through and kept riding. And they've just done an extra lap, so I don't know what's going on.
That is very bizarre. So they raced ahead to get ahead of the peloton, and then they didn't realise they were on their last lap.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fundamental schoolboy error.
It is. It's bad luck for them, for those guys, and a really bad mistake that they've made.
Oh, that was Carterfeld going down.
Okay. That was Laurent Vidal going down, but it looked like all sorts of chaos happening in the transition area.
Well, that's what happens, I guess, when you get a huge pack all coming into transition together. Luckily, Alistair Brownlee was able to run through and get past everyone out of trouble. Well, in fact, it was Brownlee. It looked like it was Brownlee that kind of caught him.
This is why it's so important to get to the front in these transitions, because if you stay, behind and someone comes off or someone falls in front of you, and you're behind that, then you're at a massive disadvantage. But it looks like Alistair had a pretty good transition.
Well, actually, he puts his shoes on and he forgets to take his helmet off, and he had to throw his helmet back as he ran away.
Yeah.
So it was all pretty much chaos in here, wasn't it?
It was chaos. I just can't believe all of this unfolding right now. Especially the two guys that are still riding another lap. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty stupid.
It really is. Yeah, it really is silly.
Well, it's all going down here, Stuart.
Well, I have to say, Graham, that looking at that, it was complete and utter bedlam, wasn't it? It was absolutely unbelievable. The two leaders, after all the work they'd done, ride straight past us, and I thought, well, hang on, there can't be another lap to go, because looking at the clock, the timings were showing us that's it. They were on the last lap, and the rest were coming in behind them, and they just went straight past us, as you saw. It's incredible. They're out on the lap again. They'll be wondering where everyone is.
Tell you what, Stuart, that was an amazing transition by Will Clark. He worked his way. Alistair Brownlee. Right, we're back on the run. I was talking about Will Clark. Stefan Justus also had a fantastic transition. We spoke about Courtney Atkins' running. Alistair Brownlee has come straight onto the lead. He didn't have a great transition, Alistair Brownlee. He got caught behind a couple of the bikes going over, but he's established himself just coming out of transition. First 500, maybe 800 metres, he's up there. We have two Brits in the first four, along with Courtney Atkins from Australia and Chris Gemmell from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chris Gemmell has come onto the scene from nowhere, really. I mean, he obviously was in that group, but certainly Alistair didn't have a great transition. His brother went out, Jonathan went out way ahead of him, but Will Clark's looking good. Now, these are the two guys that have missed transition, and they're still going, and that's so disappointing for them. They're doing an extra lap, and they don't know, and someone surely on the course would be able to tell them that they've missed transition. They've gone beyond 40 kilometres. They'll have done 45 by the time they get back. And that is astonishing. At least someone would have told them as Alistair Brownlee leads the run-off. Well, what about that?
But I guess, Stuart, you come back to any race, any sport, it's got to be the athlete's responsibility. You know what the course is. If you don't do that, okay, things go wrong. But why did they go wrong? You must know the course. In triathlon especially, you've got to know where transition, you've got to know what you're doing. Alistair Brownlee certainly knows what he's doing. He didn't have a great transition. Mentally so tough, he's come straight back to the front of this race.
I'll tell you who else has done quite well. Laurent Vidal of France. I saw him fall down in transition. He was the one that fell down in the middle with his bike. He's up there in what, 4th place at the moment. I mean, he's going extremely well.
Oh, we've got a group broken away already. I don't know, maybe 12, maybe 15 athletes there. Talking all the time about Alistair Brownlee, the braveness going from the front. He's certainly done that here.
Well, Alistair Brownlee is the Yorkshire cross-country champion last season. He's the Northern cross-country champion. He's certainly no stranger to running distances. Eustace on the left, we haven't mentioned him for a while. He's going very strongly indeed. And that was some transition, because it's all changed. All changed. There's so many changes happened in that transition to bring this group out as a leading group. But Eustace too joining that. Where's House? Where are the rest that were up there? They must be in that group trailing certainly, but it was all change.
It's part of the sport, Stuart, and if you're wise, if you pick the spot carefully on the cycle, it is the 4th discipline. Everyone says that. Swim, cycle, run, the 4th discipline is transition. Will Clark totally got in the correct place coming in off the bike, and he's established himself in this lead group. Just looking at it now, there's Alistair Brownlee. He's still working it through. Courtney Atkinson said great running form. Stefan Justus, he was next to Will Clark on transition, and he had a very good transition as well. Chris Gemmell, we haven't spoken about him. He's hidden himself in the bike pack, and maybe he's taken it easy, he's saved his legs, and he knows that in so many situations now on a triathlon at the very top level, it does come down to the run.
Chris Gemmell actually was expected to do much better than he did in the Olympic Games. He was 39th. He went in as one of the fastest and one of those that were most likely. And he's now just sitting there, just relaxing those arms with the hat and the dark glasses there. Eustace on the left. But Alistair Brownlee looks very comfortable indeed. And as we've said several times, there's Tim Don. Well, Tim Don has come onto the scene. He was way down in the swim, and certainly in that second pack in the bike as well. But he's in there. So we've got Britons in that leading group. They really are taking full advantage of this home situation, aren't they?
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, Tim's 3-time Olympian. 3 triathlons in the Olympic Games. He's been to every single one. He's had nasty injury coming through, and you know, he's going to be delighted just to be in that lead pack. And again, we keep talking about the mental situation, mental attitude. If he's happy to be there, it's all bonus now on. We don't write off Tim Don, certainly, but the man really in the driving seat, Alistair Brownlee.
Looks very comfortable, doesn't he? Tim Don moving up on the left with a bobbing head, that white hat, that familiar white hat. Remember, he's a former world champion. Mustn't forget that. He won the title in Lausanne in 2006. Hasn't had that sort of form since, but this is a very good performance. Before this championship, he said, or before this race, he said, I'm in good form. I really want to do well. And he's doing well. And if he can keep this going, well, who knows? And Will Clark up there as well. So Britain very well represented. I'm just wondering what's happened to young Jonathan Brownlee.
Yeah, I saw Jonathan coming out of transition. He had a better transition than Alistair, but have not yet seen him in the front pack. Now, that doesn't mean anything because, you know, again, we've seen Chris Gemmell hiding himself. We've seen athletes hiding themselves in the cycle section. Certainly that can happen on the run as well. We'll keep an eye out for it. I can see, well, it looks like that's GBR. That's Will Clark there running in about 6th position. Tim Don, 5th or 6th. Wow. Isn't that fantastic? 3 British athletes in the top half dozen.
Well, it is, and really on the form book it was not entirely supposed to happen, but that's what happens when you come home. And it augurs so well for the Olympic Games. OK, it's 3 years away, but we've got some real talent here. It wasn't a successful Olympic Games in Beijing, we know that. They had problems with injury and illness, and but this really is so encouraging with Alistair Brownlee, who's won 3 of the races. Let me repeat that. This is his 4th race. And Justus is there. Will Clark is there. So Courtney Atkinson is there with the light hat on the left. The headband of Laurent Vidal of France. His best position in Kitzbühel, 3rd place.
Concentrate on. Pick your favourites out of these. Britain have got representation here, remember. You're looking at Alistair Brownlee, his brothers in the group as well. And there's one or two others to look at, but look at the size of the group now. They've got 2 laps to go, just over 6 kilometres. And that's what, about 3 3/4 miles.
So coming in then to transition, Brownlee is taking it on. Vidal looks very strong, doesn't he? In fact, they all do really. House is there. We wondered what had happened to House. He'd been featuring on the bike for some considerable time. He's there.
Well, I've got that very, very unofficially, Stuart. I've got that as around 9:40 on the first third of this 10-kilometre run. Now, if they can maintain this sort of pace, that is very, very fast running indeed. Not just for triathlon, but for pure running. There's Johnny Brownlee just going past us now. So around 25th, 30th position.
Yes, he did his job for his brother, didn't he, on the bike? They worked very strongly together as a team. On the course, of course, looking psychologically across, you can see where the trailing group is as you go in one direction. These loops are out and back 3 times. They're each 3,300 meters or thereabouts, plus the start and finish. Vidal is taking it over. Brownlee in second place. But still nothing in it. Looking very comfortable indeed, the early stages of this 10,000 meter race. Eustace with the sunshade in third place ahead of Gemmell behind him. Then Tim Don is up there rocking and rolling on the left of the shot. And we expected a competitive race, and this is what championship races are all about. And it's proving to be so. Will Clark just dropping off the back there just for the moment.
Oh, that pace has been just consistently fast, hasn't it? If my unofficial time check is anywhere near correct, that's going to be around a 29-minute, 29:15 for a 10k run. That's fast running. Alistair Brownlee looks very, very smooth. Just takes a drink over there. Vidal hitting the front. That's early for him. He's normally happy to stay in the pack, and if there is anything left, he'll be going through. We're just getting a heart readout for Daniel Unger there. 88% of max. But remember, that 88% of maximum coming an hour and a half into the race. So he's going to be feeling the effects now.
Yes, 1,500 metres of swimming behind them, 40 kilometres of biking. And the first third of this 10,000 metres gone. There's Unger just off the back of that group in front of him. And now here are the 2 fellas that missed transition. They did so well. They led in. And they must have wondered what happened. They really must have wondered what happened, because they would have thought, well, we are well ahead, so there's nobody behind us, but there surely were 1 or 2.
I just wonder if there's any indication of coming into transition. We said it has to be the athlete's responsibility.
Well, they're now in 5,000 metres late. It's very sad, because they did do very well. That's Bruno Paes of Portugal. You know, he's an Olympian. He was 17th in the Olympic final. You would get the feeling that he would sense that he was in the wrong place. He's going to wait now, I would think, for Rudy Wild. Both of them made the same very, very bad error.
That's 7 or 8 minutes of time, that extra lap on the bike.
Oh, yeah. Brownlee leading once again then. Eustace in second place. Vidal is there in third place.
6 kilometres to go.
Well, Alistair Brownlee, he's gained an experience, and that's Gomez just looking off just to our right. We could see Gomez. Oh, there he is. Look at the damage to his shoulder and back. That's really quite a bad injury for him. Obviously, he's not structurally injured, but that must be very sore. And for a champion, it's not the way to go, is it? He'll pack up and go back home and prepare once again. But meanwhile, Alistair Brownlee, deep in concentration. He will be at this stage. He will have the experience of 10,000 metre running. He is a very, very good runner indeed. This is one of his strengths, most definitely. He's good on the country. He's good on the roads. And Gemmell there is in fourth place. That looks like Clark, actually, might well have come back a little. We'll check on that when we get a shot.
Alistair does look strong, doesn't he, Stuart? Very, very, very upright, very powerful arm movement there. Just looking at that high knee lift for a 10K runner. See Tim Don still in that lead group. Tim Don, 5th or 6th coming through.
Yes, he is.
Approaching the halfway mark.
Well, there you got it. Eustace, Vidal, Gemmell, Don, Atkinson, House and Rank. Rank was the athlete I was trying to identify. They're all together. There's only 1 second separating all that lot. So it's very, very good. 1:22 the time after that first lap. There you've got the rest, how far they were behind. The figures representing the number of seconds they are behind.
Well, there's Brownlee.
Well, the rest will know what he can do, and if anything, I think he's stretching him. I think there's a subtle increase in pace there that's taking him away, and the rest, well, they're starting to respond, but here, these are some of those trailing, and look across to the left. They will see Brownlee leading, and they will know how far they've got to go to the turn here, and that, in one sense, is useful, and in the other sense, is a bit demoralising.
Tim Don turning there in 7th place. Tim Don on his way back from injury. That's 500 metres now from the halfway mark on the run.
Well, there's no sign of any problem whatsoever.
Well, we're beginning to stretch. That group of 12 has come gradually down. We've now got 4. Just breaking away now, so we've got a group of 4. Tim Don just edging off slightly there, just on that last half a kilometre. We saw Will Clark go just a little bit earlier. Still with Alistair Brownlee at the front.
Well, don't worry about the basic speed of the run. That's something that... but he is into a comfortable, rhythmic mode. Relaxed in the shoulders. Looks good. Is confident. That confidence we saw in the bike. There's Eustace and Gemmell, and there's a gap opening up.
That really is a gap, isn't it now? It's getting away from Stefan Eustace. Chris Gemmell staying with Stefan. And look, I think you called it totally right, Stuart. He's just gradually turning the screw. Slight increase in pace. They don't feel it initially, and it catches up with them. Will Clark still running strongly there, but just along with Zip and Sven Rader are there from Switzerland. But a little bit off that pace now that Alistair Brownlee is setting, coming into the second final 5 kilometres.
There is a gap now. He's certainly put the pedal down. Look at this. He is absolutely flying away from this field at the moment. Now, let me say it once again. 3 wins in this World Series so far. Here's a young man, what, 21? He's a youngster. He's got so many years ahead. His experience is beyond his years, that's for sure. Remember, what, he'll be 24 in 2012. He'll be still a young man, and he's now away. Alistair Brownlee promised, and he's beginning to deliver here, and that subtle increase of pace, he's built on it, and the rest have faltered. And Alistair Brownlee now has a lead of about 40 metres. All of a sudden it's appeared, and the confidence that's come from this young fellow, remember, 12th in the Olympics. This is different. This is a man who has now come of age. He's become an athlete that the rest will have to watch, most definitely. And I have a feeling that if Gomez had been in this field, he would have been suffering the same fate here, because this is Alistair Brownlee at his very, very best. Unless anything happens untoward, then, well, you can see how far he's left Tim Don behind and House. And he's, if anything, I think he's increasing his speed. He's really starting to motor away. Eustace in second place. Ranks moved through into third, just ahead of Gemmell. But there's no stress on that face whatsoever. The shoulders relaxed. Arm movement absolutely relaxed. Looks so good.
Doesn't look like a 10K runner. Looks like an 800-metre runner, doesn't he? Powerful, strong. That pace, really fast out of transition, established the pecking order in a group of 12. That came down to 6 very quickly. We saw Tim Don just trail slightly down to 5, into 4, and then the last 500 metres, maybe 1,000 metres, and Alistair Brownlee. Heir apparent, it has to be said, in British triathlon. Just picking up the bell coming to his last lap.
Yes, he's got 3,000, just over 3,300 metres to go. Now, unless anything untoward happens here, then he should be away and clear. Unless the rest have got something, but the gap, looks to me as though they may well have considered a second place as their option. He's absolutely motoring now. Eustace is there, Gemmel is there in the white shirt on the left, then Rank, and then Vidal, the Frenchman. These four, and only two of these four will go to the podium if it stays as it is. Chris Clark has dropped right off the back. It's a disappointing 10k run from him, and he will be the first to admit to that. But now Brownlee will have the advantage of seeing the rest as he goes past that advertising hoarding there. Oh, well, he won't because he's behind it. But the gap is now quite a big gap. Look at this. Surely he's not going to let this go unless he blows up, and I can't see that happening. He's away.
Well, my unofficial time check says he went through that second lap in 9:45. That is flying. That is absolutely flying.
Well, certainly, I remember Tim Don saying how fast, 10 seconds he is ahead of the trailing group. I remember Tim Don saying how fast this course was going to be, and that's proving to be the case because the overall time is going to be very, very quick indeed.
I make that time around 12 seconds, not the 10 seconds we saw on the screen, but so maybe that's Alistair just increasing the pace as he goes into his final lap. This is going to be a sensational time shoot. He's going to be doing a full triathlon in just outside 1 hour 40 minutes.
Which is astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing, and that really puts him way at the top of the world tree at the moment. Doesn't matter who's missing here today. Doesn't matter whether they've finished or not. This is a world-class performance by Alistair Brownlee.
I'm looking at his face on the screen, Stuart. There's a lot of effort there. There's almost exhaustion, but there is a lot of absolute delight as well. He knows he's going to win this, unless something desperately sad happens if he blows up. I just cannot see it. He said he does. He looks like a track runner. He's so strong. He's so powerful in the arms. Shoulders are totally fixed. He's looking ahead. It's almost the classic pose you look on a book on running technique. Absolutely sensational.
Well, let's just sit back and appreciate this world-class performance. It really is. I expected the rest to stay with him a little bit longer than this, but there was that subtle increase in pace that developed and developed and developed. And the 12 seconds that you predicted is there. Eustace, Gemmel, Ranks and Vidal, the four chasing, and it's going to be a real battle, isn't it, for second, third, for a place on the podium in this sixth version of the World Series, this Dextro Energy Triathlon World Series. And it has been successful this year, there's no question. All the big names have turned out, and of course they've got two to go. Yokohama on August the 23rd, let me just repeat that, and the grand final on the Gold Coast of Australia on September the 13th. No better place to go and to finish.
Yeah, the only thing that I can even think of happening, Stuart, is, as you said, we've got three athletes here battling out for the silver and bronze, we think. Now, the only scenario I can envisage is if somebody does try to break away, and that brings them a little bit closer to Alistair Brownlee. He looks back, maybe there's a little bit of fear. The second place medal, the third place medal, all of a sudden there's just that little glimpse of maybe getting gold. That's the only thing that I can see upsetting this young man taking the victory here in Hyde Park.
Having said all of that, the confidence that comes from three wins in three previous World Series races is something that really he must be building on. And of course his fitness level is obviously very, very high indeed. They said he was fit for this. They said he was ready, and he surely is. I think they are speeding up a little bit. Gemmel is there, Eustace is there. Eustace and Gemmel, the two. But into this final lap towards the finish now.
Well, Chris Gemmel just looked over at Stefan. He said something. Maybe it was, are we going to have a go for this? I don't know. They're trying to get away from Rank, but they haven't managed it so far at all. 6 minutes of running to go, maybe less. So 2 Germans here fighting for what we think are going to be 2 remaining medals. Chris Gemmell, never a man to underestimate. Such a strong runner. Stefan Justus, a strong runner.
Well, that shot gives you the gap. It's what? It's got to be 150 metres or more, the lead. And that represents a good deal more than 12 seconds, if that is the correct distance. And he will turn again now and head back.
1,200 metres, just over 1,200 metres, I think, from that final turn. This is just where the concentration, the total focus has to come in. He can't afford to think he's got it won. It looks like we've got a bit of an acceleration there. It really does look like Stefan Justus has put the hammer down slightly.
Well, I think what you said is bound to happen. They're bound to race it, and therefore, Alistair Brownlee won't know what's going on behind him. But just looking at that tracking shot, there is quite a big gap. And also, if they did catch him, which I doubt, but if they did catch him, then he would go again. I mean, he's that kind of athlete. You can see the margin. There he is. Eventually, we've caught up with him there. It's 13 seconds now. So, if anything, the gap is longer, it's larger. So Brownlee still looks very confident, and there was no evidence of that slight increase in pace, was there? And no one would have noticed that. But you know, when you're running like that and you see someone just moving slowly away from you and you don't know why it's happening, that's a bit disconcerting. And this man has got the tactics, he's got the technique, he certainly has. The trailing 3, led by Justus, and Gemmell in second place, and Rank is there. So still 3. Looking for the remaining 2 places, as we think will be the remaining 2 places on the rostrum.
There's the man leading at the moment. Barely 3 minutes of running. I can see the British Triathlon Federation Performance Director. She's down at the finish. She's looking up at the screen, as is everybody else there. You're just visualising what may be happening in 3 very, very short years' time here in Hyde Park. Well, Stefan Justus, Stuart.
Yeah, there's a lapped runner. He's going on into second place now. So Justus coming through to take the second position at the moment. And Brownlee, there's not even a perspiration on his brow. The wind has got up a lot, actually, since the start of this race. It's quite blustery now. But Brownlee is paying no attention to that. Once he got away from the field, then it is a matter of concentration. He knows, he has that inbuilt mechanism that he knows how fast he's going. He knows the sort of pace that he's got. And you can see that there's Rank and there's Gemmell and Justus on the right. I don't know whether that's Brownlee. Is that Brownlee in the front? If so, they are catching just a little bit, unless that's a lapped runner. It could be Brownlee. I think that's a deceptive picture, actually. But I
hope it's a deceptive picture.
Well, it certainly is Brownlee, isn't it? I mean, Justus is really going for him now.
Well, we've got the lead cameraman up there, so that has to be young Alistair Brownlee. Couple of minutes of running, that's all there is. Well,
Justus is really going for him. This looked as though he'd got away, and I just wonder, well, where did that 13 seconds go? Well, Justus, we expected a little bit of a break to go, but it's still a significant distance indeed. He's got to go do an awful lot of work to catch him, and there's not that power in that run. He's having a little look over his shoulder, and he's going to have a go, though.
It's certainly closing down, isn't it? It really is.
Yes, and has to say we'll probably get a better shot in a moment if we can look at the overhead. There it is. Oh, well, he has certainly closed it down, but certainly Brownlee's got more in his legs, I would think. And they will be telling him from the side that Justus is closing down, but I don't see any sort of fault in his running at the moment. He doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. He's had this race in his pocket from about halfway, hasn't he? And now let's see whether he can come down towards the finish. Here he comes, and this is a magnificent crowd, absolutely magnificent crowd now, as Alistair Brownlee is about 50 or 60 metres away from the finish, and he's really motoring again. This is a terrifically fast time. Look at the time on the clock, just outside 1 hour 40. Good run by the man in second place. but Eustace. But this is a great win for Alistair Brownlee. A terrific win, a terrific time. Eustace comes in to take second place, and Gemmell is going to take third, I think. Yes, he does. And that's a very, very good run indeed. Wow, what a race. And Brownlee is spent, as you see. The evidence of that was not absolutely clear. There it is on your screen. Brownlee, Eustace, Gemmell and Rank. Those athletes were way out ahead of the rest of the field as the rest now come through to the finish. What a good race that was. Absolutely superb race. And in the end, it was a demonstration. And they'll be coming in for a long, long time to come. Fletter of the USA coming down the long straightway now. Look how far that house is, 27 seconds down. There's Courtney Atkinson. He looked as though he was going to contest. He's a very, very fine runner. Tim Don, 41 seconds down in the end. So that was all about Alistair Brownlee running away. It really was.
Well, I think, Stuart, one of the best ever individual disciplines I have seen.
Well, Graham, let's have some words from Alistair. He must be spent, but what a race.
With Alistair in the finish. Alistair, what a magnificent race.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm absolutely delighted, to be honest, but I'm knackered as well.
You really, really pushed it on that run at the end.
Yeah, well, I knew there were some guys in there who had faster finishes than me, and I knew my only chance was to get a bit of a lead, and I was feeling good, so I thought stretch it out, and yeah, maybe I could enjoy the last bit a bit, and yeah, but I was working for it pretty much every inch of the way.
It was quite an action-packed race. Did you see Gomez go off his bike?
Yeah, I think he came off just behind me, and then Johnny came up and said Gomez has crashed, and it's never good to win a race where, you know, a guy who could have beaten you had crashed out. And
did you hear what happened to Brad Karlefeld?
No, I just saw him on the side of the lap.
I think we're not 100% sure. I think he caught his foot in the spokes, and he may well have broken his foot.
Yeah, I think it might be my wheel actually, but I'm not sure. But you come off all so close together, and it's just dangerous, you know. And that's why I don't really like being in a big pack like that. And yeah, but that's the race all came out together, and you've just got to cope with it. So.
What about the two guys who went and didn't stop in transition?
Yeah, that was crazy. I just didn't know where they got to. So I've never seen that happen before at all. So I think, to be honest, they would have got caught. They're not known runners, so that's why we let them go. But even so, you know, they should know how many laps they've done.
Well, a magnificent, magnificent performance for you. 4 starts, 4 wins. Brilliant.
I can't believe it. Thank you very much.
Unbelievable. That is, Stuart. I don't think the superlatives go far enough to sum up Alistair Brownlee right now.
Well, I tell you what, Graham, his time, unofficially, 29 minutes and 15 seconds. That's unofficial, of course, but we got him well under 30 minutes, and that is class 10,000 metre running after 1,500 metres of swimming and 40 kilometres on a bike. I can tell you, that is very special indeed. Very special. The rest coming in, it's been a wonderful, wonderful race. A huge pack coming in on the cycle to go into the race. 2 men just disappearing off onto a 1 lap too many. But this fella came through and showed what he's made of. He's a youngster. He's got so much more to give. That's his 4th win. He now heads the World Series rankings. There's no question about that. He looked comfortable and looked a bit spent at the end once he'd got through the line. Look at that. That's a very, very tired athlete, but it didn't show. And that was a superb run. Superb run. Well, Graham, some more from you. This is one occasion, a really big occasion. What a championship run by Brownlee and the rest.
It really was spectacular. And Michelle was saying that Alistair Brownlee, he looked like he was running comfortably, but he really was hurting himself there, wasn't he?
He was. I mean, he even explained after the race, you know, how hard that race was for him. And you know, and he was doing it tough, but it was really important for him to win here today. It was really special to be here in London, and you know, he said himself he can't believe it, but I mean, he's a talented athlete. He just knows how to push that extra level.
Well, Nat, just talk us through the chaos that was second transition. I mean, it really did kind of all kick off. Obviously, Gomez was out already, but the transition, it was perhaps just too many people, too small a space.
Yeah, it just all happened all of a sudden. I mean, the top 2 guys went through with an extra lap. And then they're continuing with the race, and then all of a sudden chaos hit when they all came in together, one big pack, and it looked like Laurent Vidal from France went down. And then somehow Brad Carterfeld got mixed up in that. We can't see him in the picture, but something happened to his foot, and it just wasn't great. So, yeah, it was just chaos, and it all happened at once. And I think then that gave Alistair confidence as well to know that his key players are out of this race.
Well, it really did look like Carterfeld had a nasty injury there. I mean, he was treated for quite a while before he was hauled away, and I think that's him out now for the rest of the season. Gomez, of course, is going to have to go to Yokohama, isn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, if he wants to win this series, he will have to. But in looking at his injuries today, I don't think that would be possible.
Well, quite an exciting men's race. Earlier today, the women were racing. Hold on. Shit, dropped my step. Series leader Emma Moffat had a substantial lead in the championship and has actually opted not to compete here in London. Remember, this series takes your best 4 results going into the grand final. Andrea Hewitt of New Zealand is lying in second, and Daniela Rief of Switzerland in third. With Olympic champions Emma Snowsill out with injury, this event is wide open. Portugal's Vanessa Fernandes has great pedigree, but the 2007 world champion and Beijing silver medalist has been off form this year as she's recovering from a broken collarbone. If she's back towards her best, she could be tough to beat. But she may struggle to keep pace with New Zealand's Andrea Hewitt. Her win in Madrid in May proved she could deliver on the big occasion, and she's been dangerous on the tour all year.
I love the races, how we're racing so often and around the world in all different places. So it's suiting me this year with so many different races, and I've just got to keep my form up to do well in every race.
But don't count out the British contingent just yet. Despite her disappointing Olympic Games, 2007 World Junior Champion Holly Avil is up for the challenge.
The thing with triathlon is that every race is different, so you can never kind of guess where you'll end up. I just always look forward to going out there and just pushing those pain barriers and getting out of the comfort zone.
If youth doesn't win the day, then experience could. Liz Blatchford hasn't been on the podium for a while, but she's been on top of the sport for the best part of a decade and could spring a surprise on home ground.
When you run past the crowd, it lifts you like nothing else. You find something that you didn't know you had. So I'm hoping here that the whole run course is going to be lined with people we know.
But the home fans will be hoping that Helen Jenkins finds top form today. The reigning world champion has gradually improved throughout the year, posting 5th in both Washington and in Kitzbühel, and winning the London Triathlon in Docklands 2 weeks ago.
With Kitzbühel, it was the most painful last kilometre of my life and ended at 5th. But I think this year, because we've got races over different, we've got the series, so it's not just the one-off race, so it's good to try different things. And I was just pleased I had that speed there, and hopefully, these last couple of races I can maintain that for hopefully a bit longer than 4K.
Who would you think is the biggest threat for the women in London here?
This weekend, there's some good Aussies racing. Vanessa Fernandes is coming back into form. Lisa Norden, Daniela Riff, there's such strong athletes as well. They're real race changers. It's going to be a fast course. I think that's what it's going to be. You're going to have to be running fast, you're going to have to be biking fast, you're going to have to be tactically aware. There's different elements in every race, and I think the swim is going to be important for the girls in this one, especially if it's a non-wetsuit. So it's going to be an interesting day.
What lessons will you learn from this weekend when you think forward to 2012?
I think it's just being in the venue, because the course isn't exactly the same, but getting a feel for the venue, and it's nice to turn up to a course when it's familiar to you. It helps with visualising it helps with training for the course. So I think just having that 3 years out, we're just getting an advantage.
Well, I'm joined by former Olympic champion Mark Jenkins, husband to our world champion Helen. Mark, any chance of a comeback? I hear you've been training again.
There's a chance, but we'll see how things go. It's okay at the moment. So,
what's it like living and training with the athlete that you're coaching?
It works well. We both kind of help each other out. We balance training and coaching between each other, and it's great at the moment. Things may change if results don't go so good, but at the moment it's going great.
Is it not a little bit more pressure on her knowing that she can't get away with anything because you're there always watching?
I think she can maybe get away with more. I think we know when each other's really tired and stuff, whereas a coach outside the home environment probably wouldn't appreciate how hard it's been. So it's a really good balance at the moment between training and home life and everything else.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mark. Well, let's join the action. Michelle Dillon is in the commentary box with Stuart Story.
Well, the start list for you for this women's race, it's creme de la creme, as one would expect in a World Series race. This is the 6th race. Jodie Swallow there, Kerry Lang of Great Britain, Holly Avil, the junior, the very good junior from Great Britain. And of course this field, very, very tight indeed, and there's no clear winner here. It's going to be very, very competitive. Jodie Stimson completes the lineup with 61 starters. So the 6th race in this World Series for women is underway now. The 1500-metre swim ahead of them. They dived in, as you saw, from the pontoon. They'll first swim up towards the Serpentine Bridge alongside the Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fountain. They'll turn back. They'll exit the water briefly, incidentally, and then dive back in to complete a second lap. Incidentally, a little bit of innovation, as the first person coming out of the water after the first lap diving in will get $500, so a little bit of a motivation there. But looking at the swimmers on the list, it's a 61-strong field, and one would expect a very, very close finish at the end of this swim. Helen Jenkins, our British world champion, should be there. DeMarco of Switzerland, then Vanessa Fernandez of Portugal, the champion from Europe. She's back in some sort of form, we're told now, but short of racing, that's for sure. Ida of Japan, Reef of Switzerland, Moore of Spain, then Jodie Swallow of Great Britain, always a good swimmer. Andrea Hewitt, who is the top-ranked swimmer thus far, and she'll be there. So will Annabelle Luxford probably, and Jessica Harrison. So we've got one clear leader. Alongside me is Michelle Dillon. Michelle, tactics on the swim?
Yes, Stuart. This is a very tight course actually today, and it's only 300 metres to the first buoy, and you know, they'd want to have a really good start and make sure they don't get they have a good position around the first buoy, so they don't get sandwiched basically and caught up in someone else's arms. But Andrea Hewitt looks like she's had a very, very good start actually, and it looks like she's leading the swim at the moment. That's number 24.
Yes, it is, and 24 is Marua. Well, I mentioned her at the beginning. I mean, Marua certainly is one of those athletes who swam rather well in the Olympic Games in Beijing. She was up there in that leading group in the swim on that occasion, so she's up there as well. So it's changing. Number 20 there is Ricarda Lisk of Germany.
She looked like she was getting right in the middle of that bunch there, and that was quite tough going around that first buoy. That's where a lot of the ground is lost. These front girls have got clear water, and they're swimming in their own stroke and having great swims, and this is where a lot of the time is made up from the rest of the pack. This is Annabelle Luxford as well on the outside. She's a very good swimmer. She's having a good swim. Jodie Swallow is in there as well.
Yeah, Jodie Swallow comes from a swimming background and a running background, so right. She's pretty tough. And the point you made about Annabelle Luxford of Australia, she's not had such a good season. Didn't finish in one of the races we've seen in the series thus far, but coming back, we said we should look out for her because you never know.
She's the most talented athlete out there. Unfortunately, she's had so many injuries over the years. She's had nerve blocks. She's had a lot of problems coming from her back. She's had a lot of stress fractures, and she doesn't seem to be able to string a lot of training together, but she definitely is probably one of the strongest swimmers in this field, and she proves that time and time again, and she's going to probably lead this swim out today, certainly on the first lap anyway. This is Annabelle leading now, and you know, and she'll have a strong bike too, but we'll just have to see when it comes down to the run whether she's been stringing any training together or not.
Now then, they're coming up to the point at which the halfway stage, and they'll come out of the water.
Luxford's got about half a body length here, so I think she's just about going to lead this one out.
Let's have a little look and see. There we go. The first exit.
Yeah, it was Luxford.
Yes. So Luxford will benefit from $500?
$500, yep.
Moore, Oliveira and Hewitt, as you see, just as they come out of the water. Jessica Harrison's had a good swim. There's Reef, we pointed her out, and Helen Jenkins. There's not much in it, as one would expect after the first of these laps, and it's what's going to happen on the second lap now, as to who will go into transition and get onto those bikes and get off onto the 8-lap course of the bike. For Luxford, there's the time, 9:39.
Kerry Lang's a little bit further down than I would have expected. She's at 24 seconds down. Holly Aville's 31 seconds down.
Yeah, Holly Aville has been going well in training, I'm told, and as a junior had a very disappointing Olympics, was ill and really unable to get past the first swim, so she's hoping to do a little bit better here. She is a great prospect, there's no doubting that at all. But look how well they're strung out now, and really this is Luxford, who's gone out very, very strongly indeed. And before the race, you said she might do this.
Yeah, I mean, if she has been injured, then she's going to push that swim bike very, very hard. And you know, sometimes Annabelle comes to these races and she doesn't even finish the race. So whether she's just going out to have a hard swim bike today, we don't know, or whether she's just going to try and make a break from early on and try and get away on the bike. It's just going to be interesting to see what she does here.
Well, you can see how far they have to go. They're coming up to the final buoy and then they'll turn left. And Annabelle Luxford, there are a few statistics for you. She'll turn in and then she'll head down towards the midpoint of the transition, because her bike will be stacked midway. And one or two of the others, like Hewitt, Reef, Norden, Harrison and Jenkins, will all be to the right, to the top.
They'll start to think now about the transition. It'll be running through their minds.
Talk to us a little bit about the preparation for transition then.
Okay, so basically they've got their bikes, they've got their helmets and their glasses if they choose to wear glasses. Today they're not wearing wetsuits, so that's one thing less to worry about. They'll have their shoes with elastic bands securely put onto their bike so that the bike shoes don't turn around. So when they jump on their bike, they can put their feet on there and get their feet straight into the shoes as quick as possible. Pretty much they'll have gels attached to their bike, so they've got some nutrition out there on the bike as well. And they'll have their fluids on their bike as well. But,
and when they come into transition, it will be a matter of those not at the first few positions. They'll have to search out in the middle, so you've got to be a bit careful. Because time is critical, because there are times given for transition. Transition times are very important.
Very important. I mean, a lot of time is lost and won in transition, and you know, this is where if people lose their bikes, or I mean, this transition set out so you can't really lose your bike, which is great. But there has been times where you're running around in circles, like the London Triathlon, for example. But it's you know, when you've got bigger transition areas.
They're going to be coming out of the water very, very shortly now.
The final turn, and then they'll go into that transition, and then we'll see how efficient they are. And as you were saying, Michelle, they don't have the wetsuits to take off, and that is a very important part of technique when the water is below 21 degrees, the cut-off point where they do wear the wetsuits, and they'll have to get those wetsuits out as they run and towards their bike. But they don't have that today, so it'll be a little bit quicker.
It'll be a lot quicker, actually, a lot quicker. So they'll just be thinking about grabbing their bike, putting their helmet on as quick as possible and jumping on that bike and going.
Well, that's a good lead now for the Australian. So Luxford, just a little look there up to see where the ramp is again, and she's approaching the ramp. Here it is, and out she'll come, and then she'll turn into the approach to transition and come down towards us.
Not too many riders have lost touch.
So actually, as we expected, look at the number of people in contention. This is a good lead, but it's not the sort of a significant lead that may impact upon the overall result. But Luxford's out, 19:29 and so forth. So it was a good swim, slightly second as one would expect, slower second half of the race.
Yeah, this is where they really have to try to get into the front pack here.
Well, Jenkins has come out as well. Jenkins is there. So is Groff of the United States, Hewitt and Swallow, and in transition is Graham Bell. Graham, your view from there?
Yeah, I'm down right with the action with Mark Jenkins. Just as Helen takes her bike, she's actually, well, second or third place. Now, Mark, the tactics of this, there's some good bikers in this lead pack, aren't there?
Looks like Danielle Riff has made the front pack, Jess Harrison and Helen and Annabelle Luxford. So I think this front pack may establish themselves and try and stay away on the bike and get a gap for the run.
So there's some good bikers in this front pack. Crucially, who's been dropped?
It looks like Norden, Spirig and Fernandez are off the back. Norden's gone through now as well, so she's going to work hard to catch up, but Fernandez hasn't made the front pack by the looks of it, so she'll be working hard from behind. So it's just whether they can stay away now.
So that's going to be hard for Vanessa Fernandez to bridge this gap.
And here comes Nicola Spirig as well, so she's a fantastic runner, so they're going to want to stay away from Spirig also.
So now this lead pack is going to work together as hard as they can to keep these guys away.
That's right. And that actually Holly hasn't had the best from there, so she's going to be working hard to catch up. So that front pack now has got to work hard for the next lap to try and establish a gap.
Brilliant. Back to you, Stuart.
Well, this transition sits on the north shore of the Serpentine, and the athletes have really received a very warm welcome, as one would expect. It is a warm day too, and the sun is beginning to show through the odd spot in the clouds as the athletes will come through. You've heard how, in fact, they're faring as they go through transition. There's a slight uphill to start. They head north to Victoria Gate Lodge before completing that tight 180-degree turn, and then they come back towards the lake. And they'll be moving pretty quickly too, 30 miles an hour or so, and they'll be moving they will be all in contention. And this is the point at which the manoeuvring will take place. And talk to us a little bit about coming out of transition into the bike and what happens then.
Okay, so now they're on the bike, and there's been a little bit of a split. Looks like Annabelle Luxford and Helen Jenkins have just made a little bit of a gap there on about another 4 athletes behind. Now they're going to be thinking to themselves, come on, Helen and Annabelle will be speaking to each other. Come on, guys, let's work together. And let's make a little bit more of a gap on this next pack. Let's not let them catch. So and these other 4 girls will be thinking, okay, let's try and get up and get onto that front pack, so that the next pack behind us are going to be a lot further back and they won't be able to catch us.
Well, there's Holly Avil, the youngster, and one would expect she's got a lot of work to do now in the mid part of this, the second discipline. There's Luxford coming into transition. The points you were making, there's the helmet going on straight away.
Straight on. She's had a really fast transition, and in fact, Helen has been really smart here because she knows Annabelle is really strong on the bike, so she's really gone really hard out of transition. Yeah. To catch Annabelle, and together now they've got a little break, which is really interesting.
Now then, Helen Jenkins takes over. Now, interesting, this is where Luxford, this is the first time she hasn't been in the lead pretty well right from the start. Hewitt led the swim early on, as you said, but then, of course, the rest are following. Now then, here's the chase group. Number 7 coming in there is Ida of Japan. Now, Ida of Japan was always going to be there or thereabouts in the swim, so she must have had a good transition too. I think we'll check on that in a moment, but that looked like her.
Okay. Let's have a look. I know Jessica Harrison's there. Now she's been swimming very, very well of late, and she's had some very, very good results as well when she finished 3rd in Madrid this year. So if she's there, that's a fantastic swim from her as well.
Spence, Anaheim.
Now that's a group further back.
Yeah, it is. They're quite well back, aren't they?
It looked like there was a couple of groups all strung out actually, so it would take a couple of laps for those groups to start forming together.
Having a little chat at the front, and I would think they'll share a little bit of the lead, a little bit of drafting going on, a little bit of tactical work. The tactics of the cycle these days, Michelle?
I think it's really, this is important. The first couple of laps is the most important part of the race, where you've got Groff in there, you've got Hewitt in there.
Yeah, Hewitt is there. We mentioned her before in the swim, and she's up there. Luxford, you're right. So everybody who's supposed to be up there really is there.
That's it. And the second group, actually, there's a couple of girls coming up now, and they're trying to bridge across the gap. So that's going to be interesting. And it looks you know, if they're going to commit there now early in this race, they should get up to that front group.
Well, it's 40 kilometres in all, so there's a fair old way to go. So each one of the laps, what, 5k? So
5k.
Yeah.
It's very important to commit early in the bike leg. It really is, because once, you know, like you can see here, this next group of Norden and Riff, I mean, they're strong cyclists. They're bridging up to the front group here. They know, and then once you get up and you've done the work, that's when you can just relax and sit in and wait for the run. Or in Riff and Norden's case, they'll probably try to make a break, because that's what they've been doing lately.
Well, Jessica Harrison leading that group there. So 12th in Beijing. There's so many of these athletes who were in Beijing and featuring in the top 20. And just looking at Hewitt was 8th in that Olympic final. Norden, incidentally, was, you mentioned her, the Swede, 18th in Beijing. She's had a very good swim here, because in Beijing she was 46th out of the water, well down. So she's very much better now. Mura, Norden, McIlroy, Tanner. You know, at the moment, those figures just mean that there's a group. And they're all changing places every so often. And
this is going to be the front group now. This will be a strong front group, especially if Norden and Riff are in there. This is very interesting, because this could potentially put a lot of time on the next group, which we can't even see. They're not even in screen yet, so in shot, sorry. So yeah, they're very, very interesting.
Yes, it is. Samuels, Dietmar, May, Mura. Well, it's all changed, isn't it?
It has.
It's a very fast run course here.
It is.
And there are one or two undulations in the bike course. There's a little bit of a chicane too near the bridge. Just have a look at this slow motion here, just to identify them. There's Mura, number 24. Number 56, there is Oliveira. We mentioned her earlier. 15 on the right. That's Groff, the American. She's had two top 10 placings in the series thus far, so we mustn't forget her. She was 7th in the World Championship final in Vancouver, incidentally. Number 30 there, that's Pion of France.
This is Fernandez. She's had a very poor swim for her, actually. This is the first time I've seen her having to really bridge up like this in a race. This is very, very different from what she's used to.
Well, for the moment, let's go back to Graham. What have we got, Graham?
Well, I'm with Mark down in transition, and it looked like there was 15 seconds between the second group and the third group, and it looked like the first and second group were going to come together. That's going to be crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we'll see in this next lap now the second group will have caught the first group. In that second group, we've got Norden and Riff. So what the girls in the first group have got to watch out for is that Norden and Riff don't try and make a break on their own. And if they do make a break on their own, then the British girls have got to try and go with that.
But if that group gets together, it's going to be a really strong, fast group at the front of the bike, and it's going to make things very, very difficult for Fernandez.
I think the girls behind are going to struggle now. Once Norden and Riff establish themselves at the front, that tends to dictate the race. Wherever they go, the race goes.
And Helen, looking good right now, working hard but not too hard on the bike.
Helen's in a great spot. She's in the front pack, but again, she's got to be careful of Norden and Riff making a break on their own and try not to take anybody with them, because that's ultimately what they may try and do, like they did in Hamburg this year.
So when you're on the bike and you're in a pack of, say, a dozen people, you don't want to spend too much time at the front because you're using up your energy. But if you hang around at the back, then you could get dropped by a break that goes away.
Exactly. They don't want to kill themselves in that front group in case a group does go away and then they can't chase. But at the same time, they want to establish the gap. So it's a bit of an awkward situation to be in. You've got to work, but then you've got to conserve a bit of energy in case any breaks do go.
But things are looking good for Helen. Brilliant. Back to you, Stuart.
Yes, indeed. There's a big lead group. You've heard the analysis from Mark. And, of course, his wife doing very, very well indeed at near the front of this race. I saw Jodie Swallow on the back end of that leading group. She was detached for a while and then got back in. And, of course, that is to her advantage. Reef, Hewitt, both have been up there in the lead. McIlroy's up there. Everybody who's anybody is up in that leading group. We've got Spirig off the back in the second group.
Yep. She's driving that second group as well, which is why they're probably catching.
And Avil, the youngster, is there with her as well. So, and it'll be interesting to see how that is going in terms of the difference between this lead group. But Swallow's back up there again, you know. She must be feeling good today.
She is, yeah. This is very good from Jodie. And she's putting her head down and you know, oh, here comes the second pack now. They're right on their tail, and that's Spirig driving that second pack.
Well, that's very, very small margin now, and what they'll do is they'll make that difference up very slowly. They won't do it suddenly because that'll take too much. But look at this now; we're all coming together soon. It will be a bike race.
One big pack.
Yeah.
One big pack. Now this then will slow the whole pack down. This big pack, because really they'll be looking at each other, and that's when either a break will go, or the next pack behind, which I think is a minute behind at the moment, could even actually put time into that front pack.
Well, certainly there, the statistic just a few moments ago showed that the chase pack. Look at this now; they've all caught up. This is a huge lead pack. There's that. Look at this.
Wow. You can see a couple going up the road now. They're trying to split the field up a little bit, and that's at McElroy again. She's having a great ride today. She's really sitting at the front, being smart and just driving, and Annabelle's right on her wheel there. I think I read that Kate McElroy wasn't that happy with her biking, you know, and I think that's her weakness. I mean, she's a strong swimmer. She's made that front pack today, and she's a strong runner. But today she looks like she's having a good bike ride as well.
She certainly is. She's done she's actually, you know, when you look back to her, she was a former mountain running champion. You know, she was up the hill. She's a national steeplechase champion as well. So she's useful to the used to the rhythm sapping events. And there's no well, there you go. Helen Jenkins coming through very strongly.
There's Melanie Spencer there from New Zealand. Now she's putting the pedal down there, and she's trying to make a break here on the front. Now she's really going to string this bike up now.
Well, Swallow's tucked in behind. There's only about 5 metres. It'll be interesting to see whether it is significant. The rest are there. Everybody's there. They're all, yeah, Zabo's there. Shoemaker, yeah. Well, the Shoemaker family well represented in the men's race as well.
Yep.
One withdrawal there, number 45. You see Sarah Fladung of Germany. She didn't finish in Madrid either, and was 29th and 26th in the previous 2 occasions that she competed, so one didn't expect her to be up there, but she's gone.
This is the second pack now. Now they're starting to work. Chase group.
Yeah, let's see if we get an indication of how far they're behind now. Remember, it was 1:20 last time, wasn't it? 1 minute and 20. So let's see if we've got any advantage, if we get a caption on that at some stage.
The Carter Risk at the front end, number 20. Looks like they're actually doing some turns, which is really, really good to see.
Yeah, it is. By that you mean they really are pushing it, and they're really starting to motor a little bit. And someone might well have made the noise that, well, the lead group is not, you know, speeding along too quickly, and 1 or 2 of you may well get involved in the run at the end. But it's going to be very difficult to do that. I mean, there's some real class runners in this leading group as well. I mean, well, you know, when in the early days we used to say there's a swimmer, there's a runner. Chase group 58 seconds, so they've made up 22 seconds now, so that's a big improvement now. They are chasing, 22-second advantage, 18.8 kilometers to go of the 40-kilometer discipline. And that's very, very interesting indeed, because that's catchable, I would think.
Definitely. 1 minute isn't that far if you have 4 or 5 athletes actually willing to commit at the front. So, you know, I mean, this group is still going very, very slow, and here comes Spence again down the outside. So she's really playing mind games with these athletes.
Well, she certainly is now, because she's absolutely flying out of the transition area, absolutely flying. Now then, is this a break starting now?
I don't think this will eventuate to anything. No. I think it's good though for her to do this, because it will create a little bit of the athletes will just be a little bit nervous as to, you know, whether she's going what's going to happen next. I mean, if someone jumps across like Lisa Norden, then and maybe Riff or someone quite strong, that they could potentially stay away. But this is now the second group. And you've got Jodie Stimson on the front there, number 16.
Liz Blatchford there as well, isn't it? Yeah, she is there. She is in the middle, to the right, second from the right.
You can see Liz is starting to talk to the other athletes and say, "Come on, guys, let's work together here." They're only 58. We're only at 58 seconds down. let's start to really work hard here, and we can bring that right down.
There's definitely a difference in the attitude of the second group and the lead group now, and there are two different ways of approaching the race now, because the trailing group really do have a chance of catching the lead group unless the real pedal goes down and someone really makes the break, a significant break, and pulls the rest of the group, the leading group, with them.
It's Muller. Yeah, they're definitely working a lot harder, that second group, without a doubt. And Spence here, we see the replay of Spence going off the front there. Not sure where that's gone yet.
That was Luxford, wasn't it, in the picture there as well? And number 51 for you there is Spence, as you mentioned. Swallow going through. Now this, this does look a little bit. Now this looks really as though we're getting to the business end. Spirig, Luxford, DeMarco. We haven't mentioned her, have we? She's there as well, and she was one of our top swimmers as well. But DeMarco, well, we've got to watch her. Her best finish was in Madrid. She was 6th in Madrid, 7th in the World Championships in Hamburg in 2007, and not so good in the European Championships, but looking good. There are the placings as we go through. Liz Blatchford is there. Vojdikova, she was leading one of the trail groups there. But there's a big group. Look at the times. They're all together. It's not a 33rd to 40. They're all in one group. They're all together.
You see Rebecca Spence, she was caught there, and she's come back to the middle of the field. Oh, there's been a fall.
Oh, there is indeed.
Oh, okay, so she's gone off the front and she's fallen off.
Spence has, yes.
Oh no, she's taken that corner a little bit too quick. Well, that's a real shame for Rebecca Spence.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Rebecca Spence of New Zealand goes off. Took a bit of a knock there by the look of it, and doesn't seem to be too badly hurt.
She's got back on her bike, which is a really good sign, so hopefully she hasn't hurt herself too badly.
Well, just for a moment, the sun has come out.
Annabelle's looking for someone to take over now, and so Norden comes to the front.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Spirig's sitting in there as well. She's not doing much work. I mean, she was initially chasing, and now they've caught. She's decided just to sit in, which is really, really smart.
Yes, it is, particularly when she knows that she can compete over 10 kilometres on the run. They have to be very careful. Look at this. The weather's a little bit tentative going around the bends. There are some tight bends here.
Oh, Holly's come to the front as well, Holly Apple.
Well, that's good to see Holly there, because I'm told she is in good shape. Her training's been going very strongly indeed, and very well.
Okay, so Holly's going. Oh, here we go. So she's just had a bit of a word to somebody by the looks of things, and she's going to try and make a break. Let's see what happens here.
Well, this could be her time.
I don't think so. Riff's gone with her,
yes.
but I don't know if Holly. She's sitting up now. But definitely there's going to be a break made here for sure. I mean, they're all looking at each other, contemplating when to go.
That was Spirig of Switzerland behind her, I think.
That was Daniel Riff.
Was it?
Yeah. Pretty sure it was. Do you reckon?
We'll have a look. We'll have a look in a moment. But I just had a feel. We'll check on that in a moment.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. They still haven't gone anywhere yet. Anyway, they're all still there together.
Yes, it's a very much a tactical second discipline here.
Yeah, it's Riff.
Yeah. Well, we've heard about the Riff and Norden running capability, so if they're up at the front, then, well, clearly there's going to be quite a battle in the end, and it will be a tactical run. I'm looking forward to the 10,000 metres. I really am, because that. Oh. No, I think it is Spirig, actually. It is that's Spirig.
Because they both have the same numbers, don't they?
Well,
2 and 22.
2 and 22. Yeah. Yeah, that's Spirig. Yeah. Well, Spirig certainly was second in Kitzbühel. That's the only one she's competed in before here. She was 6th in Beijing, so there's a lot of experience in Spirig of Switzerland. The Swiss have done very well in triathlons over the years, particularly since they've become an Olympic event in Sydney 2000. I remember sitting on the steps of the Opera House in that wonderful transition, watching them plough through the jellyfish as they came in off the swim. It was amazing. Eid there, just in front of the Russian.
Yeah, the Swiss girls and the guys as well, they seem to be able to put the big races together very well and perform on the day. So they're very, very good, very experienced.
Now, Abasova, her heart rate is 89% of max. Wow. She's got the heart monitor on as well. There are one or two of the cyclists with the heart monitors on. It gives the heart rate and the percentage of maximum there, which is quite interesting for the physiologists amongst you.
That's surprising, actually, because she's working quite high.
Yeah, yeah.
If she's sitting in and she's working that high,
yeah,
that's quite surprising. Yeah, so nothing's happening yet, but Spirig is there.
Yeah, Spirig leads. Avil in second place at the moment. It looks like Avil now moving into third place, isn't he?
Yeah, Spirig's just, she's up to something here. So I don't know what she's
Well, they seem to be pushing along a little bit now. That seems to be a real effort. As Spirig puts the pedal down, a little bit of a look round the corner. She's leading. There's that Jodie, and it is Jodie Swallow in second place again. She's come from the back of the field.
She's come up. She's watching. That's really smart from Jodie, sitting up the front. Very, very smart. Because if a break does go, then she can be right there. They're still really watching each other, though.
We're on the 7th lap. It's 1 minute and 5:23 gone. Everybody's still there. Just a lap, 8 laps overall in this 40-kilometre race. Spence is on the back of that group now. And after falling, that's very, very good indeed.
Oh, these girls are working definitely together now. They've definitely put some time into this next, because here they come. Look, this is not far at all. This is 38 seconds now down the second pack.
Yeah.
Wow, they're really starting to catch up.
Yes, they were 1 minute and 20 down, and they've closed it very, very quickly indeed. Oh, look, we've got a big fall here. Eid, the Japanese, is involved here. Is that Morrison, Katrina Morrison, is it?
No, that's Ailey Morrison.
Ailey Morrison, right. Let's just have a look. 37's involved in that. That's Fredriksson of Denmark, and that's a real pile-up, isn't it?
That is. That does not look good at all.
No, it doesn't. Some damaged bikes. There's Abasova, the Russian.
Oh, dear.
That's a shame.
This is terrible because, you know, the race is pretty much over. I mean, it looks like someone's hurt there as well. There's Ailey Morrison on the ground.
Well, lots of activity down in. Let's have a look and see what happens here. Oh, the fall is at the front. It looked like Morrison, didn't it, going down first?
Yep.
And the rest have gone over the top. One or two trying to avoid. Eid was involved there. You can see the Japanese cyclist is there, but it's taken out about 7 or 8 of the cyclists there. Well, that can happen, but that's pretty tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it looked as though she may have been taking a gel down when she had one hand on the handlebars. So that could have been that there.
Well, Abasova was involved in that. Her heart rate's 181. Let's see what percent. 98%. So she's the faller. So she's really suffering now. And that's just a little statistic for you. And she's trying desperately to get back into the race now. That's an awful shame because they were closing in very, very quickly. Just looking back at that fall, and that's a great, great shame. You can see Abasova just at the top of the picture there, very briefly, getting back on the bike and getting on. But the momentum, not only the momentum, but the psychological downturn that must create.
Well, I had the same problem actually in Hamburg in 2007. We just literally caught onto the back of the front pack. There was a big crash. I went down in the crash. I pretty much grabbed my bike, pulled it out of the wreck, got onto it, and then bridged back up. And it took a lot of energy out to bridge back up, but I eventually got back onto the front of the pack coming into transition. And it's had, and this is the girls here now. They know that this is the second pack here. Jodie Stimson now working really hard on the front, committing now, which is really important to get up to that front pack.
Was that Rebecca Spence as well I saw in that group? No, we'll check on that in a moment. But all I can say is I'll look at this. 38 seconds from 1 minute 20 to 38. We saw the lead group slow. There were two groups that came together early on in the race, and then there was a trail pack 1:20 behind. They're now 38 seconds behind, and that means that they are in some sort of contention. And if but they have got to push now. The only danger they've got is if the lead group then put the pedal down and start to go. And one would expect something to break at the beginning, wouldn't you, at the end of this race for the cyclists at the top?
Well, that second group now is very small because that accident just happened. So those girls now can work together as a team and reel that front pack in, and they're closing very, very quickly now. Yeah, with just 9 kilometres or so to go. That's just corrected to 9.5 kilometres to go, and that is towards the end. And look at this, there's the gap. You can see the gap now between the lead. That is definitely Reef. That's Reef there. Yep, she's at the front of that front pack. Well, Graham, all sorts of bedlam in the transition and 1 or 2 crashes. Any news?
Yeah, we're down in transition here, and there's 2 quite badly hurt athletes. Mark, how does it look?
I think they're both okay. Well, the Irish athlete Morrison seems to be conscious, and she seems to be all right. It's what happens when you come through transition. Everybody gets very close, a bit twitchy, and a clip of wheels, and they can right mess like that.
And the trouble is, we've now got the pack chasing down, coming back round through, and there's paramedics on the course, and there's people standing here, and there's much less room for this next pack to come past.
Well, hopefully that doesn't cause any more accidents. The fact that there's people on the course probably shouldn't be on there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all a little bit dodgy down here in transition, but I think what this is going to do is it's just going to slow it all down even more. So back to you, Stuart.
Yes, thanks, Graham. It really is getting very, very well. Look at this. I mean, I've not seen this before. I mean, this is very, very unusual. There's a slowdown now. Remember, they've got about they've got 9 kilometres to go of 40, and it's all gone slow again, and the groups are coming together, and we've really got the swim now has played no part in this whatsoever. They're all together, so this is all going to come down to a 10,000 metre run unless somebody can start to move now. It's got to happen soon. I mean, you're expecting it, aren't you?
Well, I mean, this second pack now, once that accident happened, they've caught up very, very quickly. They're now willing to sit in that pack and rest their legs because they know they've got about 9k to go on the bike. They're going to rest their legs, and Helen Tucker's at the front of there, Jessica Harrison's at the front there. Now, it's definitely going to come down to the 10k run now. There's no doubt about it. Anyone is in that front pack, and there's some fast girls in there, very fast.
You mentioned Helen Tucker, of course. She's married to Mark Jenkins, so it's Helen Jenkins now, just to avoid any confusion.
Sorry about that.
That's quite all right. It's quite all right. You've raced with her and alongside her
many years
as Helen Tucker. She was world champion as Helen Tucker, and of course has now married Mark. Now, number 36 there, that's Svenja Baselen of Germany. She's had a 12th place finish in Hamburg, didn't finish in Madrid. Just looking at her world, she was the world champion in the 20 to 24 age group, so she's a talent. So this is going to come down to the runners now. There's absolutely no question about that.
Well, here we go. Nicholas Spirig now. She's going to push. She's pushing the pace. They're going for the sprint. They're going for the sprint for the preem, the bike preem, which is $500, isn't it? $500.
There are $500. They got one at the end of the second lap, and there's another $500 if they go through the dismount line, which is the preem line, on the end of the 7th lap. So that is something that whoever's in front has just earned themselves $500.
That was Spirit. She just said Spirit first.
Lap 8. And remember, this is the final lap then. So we've got, 5 kilometres to go or thereabouts.
You just saw Rebecca Spence there. She's still in that pack. She's at the back of that pack at the moment. Sarah Groff now leads that lead pack. Takes that corner really well. Spence is at the back there.
Well, this is absolutely magnificent. You sit back here and you think, we started at the beginning of this triathlon saying we're not sure who's going to win. We're 2/3 of the way almost through it, and we still don't know who's going to win. All we know is that there are about 30 cyclists who are going to put themselves into contention, but there are one or two very, very strong runners in there. And that was just a little look back at Sprig getting her $500. That's Braslin, incidentally, number 36. Number 57 on the shot is Emma Davis.
Well, no one's really expended too much energy now in that bike today. Like, I mean, the second pack catching, they're spinning their legs out now and they're resting, and so it really is now just down to this 10k run. Sarah Groff on the front, Holly Abel on her wheel, and Spirix right up there as well. Jessica Harrison.
Well, anybody who's there. I mean, it's been the feature of this second discipline. They've completed 1,500 meters of swimming. They're well into the final 5,000 meters of this 40-kilometer bike, and then they've got 10 kilometers of running to come. Number 15 is Groff, Sarah Groff. We haven't said too much about her. We're 2 9th places in the series thus far, 7th in the World Championships in Vancouver, just to give a little bit of background to her. And she won the Aquathon World Championship too, so she's pretty versatile.
Sarah's a great swimmer, but she didn't actually lead the swim out today, which is quite interesting. Yep, everyone up there now is really looking at each other. You've got Nicholas Spirig. And I think these speed bumps here today are playing, you've got to be really careful that you don't take a drink over a speed bump with one hand on the handlebars. I mean, that's where accidents can easily, you can easily have an accident when, if something happens and you're not in control of your bike. Kerry Lang's up there as well, number 31. Jodie Stimson's there. All the British girls are right up there. So this is a great day for the British girls.
There's Ede. Well, Ede was involved in that crash early on that we saw. She's got some pretty bad grazing there, but looks okay apart from that. She's a very good swimmer. She's a good triathlete, and it's disappointing for her. She was 3rd in Tongyong, the Korean, a 3rd and an 8th in the championship, so she'll be very, very disappointed to have lost out on this. Slowed down again.
It has.
It's settled down again. I just wonder what thoughts are going through the minds. Now, you were 6th place in an Olympic final. You would be, if you were in this position, what thoughts would be going through your mind?
Well, if I was in the lead pack now and I'd been probably in that second pack and come up to that lead pack, then I would be very, very happy, because I would be sitting in there and just waiting, resting my legs and waiting for that run. Thinking about the transition now going through my head, making sure that I've taken a gel on board as well, had a gel, and that's where that Ailey Morrison came down, because she was taking a gel on board. But that's what I would be doing. I'd be taking a gel, making sure, replenishing.
Explain the gel for people who have not seen triathlon before.
So it's like you can get them from Power Bar, for example. It's a small gel of about 100 calories. You can. It's a gooey in texture, and they're very convenient. You can just put them onto your bike with a bit of tape or something like that, and then they come undone at the top quite easily. So you take it off and you just squirt it into your mouth pretty much, and then just put some water down as well with that. And there you have 100 calories very, very quickly, very, very easily, very easy to digest as well, so that when you do get out there on the run, you haven't got anything heavy sitting in your stomach.
Close proximity. It is difficult. There are times when you have to sit there. To get out of that to pack, you're trapped in, you've got to wait your time, you've got to be very careful, you don't contact other bikes, but you are drafting. You get the advantage of drafting. Now tell me about the drafting and you Olympians.
Drafting is very, it's so much easier than non-drafting. If you're caught on your own, you know, you have the wind factor. It's about 30% easier sitting on someone else's wheel, and if you position yourself well, like in that middle of that pack there, as you can see from the top, in the middle of that pack there is perfect. But you'd like to be a little bit at the front just to make sure, like if an accident does happen, you can easily get out of it. But it's so much easier sitting in a pack on a wheel. As you can see, these girls are now just down to pedestrian pace.
Well, we've got a shot there of Jenna Schumacher of the United States. Her best finish is 24th in this series so far. So this is a very different race. This is entirely different. And let me remind you once again, this is the course for the Olympic Games triathlon in 2012. So it's a great course, really. I mean, it's wonderful in Hyde Park here.
They're all getting ready now for this transition. They're starting to adjust, get their feet out of their shoes and get to the front. Now, it's very important you get to the front of this pack, really. It really is, to come into transition. I mean, this could be the difference between winning and coming fifth. I mean, it's a close race, more so in the men than the women's race, but these days the racing's getting closer and closer, so these transitions are important. And Holly Avil is sitting at the front, which is a very, very smart move from Holly.
Well, it is. Muller's there on the side, isn't she? Yes, that's Muller. But Avil not having any. Look, her feet are out of the shoes. She'll get into transition, and she will then get onto the run. Now then, the tactics of running as far as Holly are concerned, she's only 19, she's a lot to learn, and this will be a big learning process because this is not a lone run. This is she's going to have athletes all round her, and she's going to have to be tactically aware. She's going to have to know who's there and what they're capable of in order to judge the race that she herself can put together.
We don't have Emma Moffat here today, who is, the standout runner of this field if she was here today. She's not here today.
Well, Graham, you're closer to transition than us. Just keep us up to date.
Yeah, we're down in transition, and we're just watching them all running down towards us now. I can just trying to pick out Helen. Can you see Helen in there, Mark?
I can't see her yet. I saw her coming in. I think she's about 10th place. Yeah, she's coming through now, so she's in a good spot for transition.
Here she comes now. So this is Helen racking her bike. Now, what are the tactics now? Just to be as quick as possible and get out in the front.
You just want to be as quick as possible, get your shoes on as quick as possible, so you don't want to give yourself too much ground to make up out of transition. So it's important you don't come out of the back of the pack, because if you're out of the back of the pack, you've got 10 seconds to run through to the front of the pack. So for instance, Jodie's had quite a bad transition here, so she's giving herself a lot of ground to make up.
So, not good from Jodie Swallow in transition, but who are the ones we need to watch? Who are the good runners in this race? Because it doesn't look like the bike has taken that much out of them.
No, the bike has been very passive. They haven't done any work. So the people we've got to watch is Nicola Spirig, Sheedy Ryan, Riff and Norden, and then hopefully Helen and Holly as well will be up there with Kerry Lang and Jodie Swallow for Great Britain as well. And Jodie Stimson was actually in there too. So all the British contingent in that pack.
So it's all come down to a running race. And good luck to Helen. Back to you, Stuart.
Yeah, well, thanks, Graham. We were just watching Jodie Swallow there. It was a poor transition, wasn't it? Because she was up there or thereabouts in that leading group, and she's way, way down. She is a good athlete. There's no question about that. We know about Jodie. She comes from a running background, and she'll need to be very careful she doesn't try and make up the deficit too quickly in the early stages of this race. And we'll pick up who's there in a moment when we get a close-up of the leading athletes. And all of those names you've mentioned, Spirig and Norden and Riff and Helen Jenkins herself.
Well, there's Jodie Stimson leading out, and that's one of my athletes that I coach, actually, and she's having a fantastic race, and this is expected from her. She's running exceptionally well in training, and she'll be very, very happy to come off in that front pack today.
Well, as they go in the early stages, let me tell you that they complete 4 out and back loops here. Heading in the reverse direction to the bike course. The psychological warfare, certainly, we've mentioned that before, it'll begin with athletes passing each other at either end. They're clocking time gaps and distances as they complete this 10,000 metres there.
Yeah, Jodie's having a fantastic run here. She's gone out very hard. There's Nicola Spirig with her, Lisa Norden, And Debbie Tanner's actually having a fantastic run as well today. They've put a little bit of a gap on the next couple of athletes behind them.
I tell you, the ranking lists mean nothing today, and it's an entirely different race. This is a real competitive championship race. Here's transition once again. Let's have a look at this. There's Helen Jenkins in the middle. Norden coming through here. They've already got their feet out. We saw that. Luxford, she's still there. Remember, she led out of the swim early on in the event. Riff on the right. We've got to watch out for her. There's Harrison. Spirrig, we know Spirrig is good. Here's Hewitt. Andrea Hewitt, the New Zealander, who leads the rankings in terms of the competitors here today. Helen Jenkins, in the past, she's gone off a bit too quick. She'll have suffered a bit. But there you've got it after the bike. Norden, Spirrig, Marura. There's Jessica Harrison. The times look +2 seconds, so they're all there together. So the actual positions there, not too significant. All of those look within 4 seconds, so that's nothing. That means that they're all even going into the 10K. A little bit of a problem for Jodie early on, but she will make her way back, one would hope. But
what's happened here is the split has happened early because the first 1K has been very, very fast by this woman here, Jodie Stimson. Now she's gone out very hard and created that split of 4 athletes behind her. They're actually struggling to hang on at the moment. This is quite interesting. She's really laying down this pace here. And someone here is that Riff coming across?
It could be. Just as there's the turn, and they'll see when they turn round. Was that Debbie Tanner of New Zealand in second place? I think it was, wasn't it? Well, they're well out onto the run now. Stimson leads. Tanner in second place. Groff of the United States is up there. So is Helen Jenkins of Great Britain, the world champion. But Jodie Stimson now benefiting from a cycle discipline that really didn't take off. It was, and I think we've used the word passive in a way, after all the hard work in the swim, but then that's what this competition's all about.
Jodie's very new, obviously, to this type of racing, so she's very excited at the moment. She may be going out a little bit too hard, but I mean, this is the way she wants to take this race out today, and you know, we'll see how this goes. But I tell you, Debbie Tanner looks very comfortable. This is the best run I've seen her have in a long time. I know it's still early in the run, but
it's a very different race, this, to the others. I mean, Debbie was 14th in Hamburg, 24th in Kitzbühel, 11th in Washington, and 23rd in the first of the races in Tongyong. So, you know, it's really changed. But she was 9th in the World Championships in Vancouver last year. So there was an indication that, you know, she's a real talent, that's for sure. Riff, that is Riff.
Yep, she's in the middle of the two bunches there.
Yes, she is. So Jenkins on the left, you can see Spirrig is there. Norden.
It looks like they're settling into a nice pace now.
Well, certainly Lisa Norden. They all look very comfortable indeed here.
They do.
You can't tell much from this. And it would be foolish to try and get away at this early stage. It's very much a tactical thing. This is going to come down to a sprint finish, I think, unless someone can really make some headway and start to dominate. Maybe Spirrig.
Who is that in the red? Is that Riff coming across? I mean, she's really surging up.
If that is Riff, I think that is Riff, and that is a bit too quick.
That's going to take a lot out of that athlete coming up. I don't know if it is her though. It looks. It's.
If we can just, we'll have a little look at the moment. Stimson is there. Norden. Jenkins takes it on. Very much the confident young woman. There's no question about that. She said, "This is my home territory. This is. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good." And she's proving to be good. And I'm just looking to see if we've got an athlete join. I think it is Riff, but we'll check in a moment. She's just hidden behind. That looks like Riff to me, but we'll have a look when we get the close-up shots again, who's joined them. But I have to say that was pretty quick. Now, Jodie Swallow obviously hasn't made that headway.
I know it's Elizabeth May.
It is.
Elizabeth May from Luxembourg. So she's
well, indeed, yes.
That's a really good run there to be able to bridge that back up and then sit on the back of this pack.
I just have a feeling that she did it too quickly, though, and may well suffer a little bit later on in the order of things. We shall see. But Elizabeth May, 17th in Washington, 24th in Madrid. She did go to Beijing, but she was way down the back in 41st place in the Olympic final. But having said that, she was the second fastest on the run in the Olympic Games, which is quite something. Now that's an interesting statistic, really.
Sweden. And those two really big players. This is Great Britain coming through.
Well, Norden still in the middle of that leading group. Stimson leads, Jenkins in second place, Norden in third place, then Spirig is there, so is Debbie Tanner of New Zealand. Just looking at each other, there's a lot of concentration here. This is going to be very, very interesting. We didn't expect, we've said again it was going to be close, but we didn't expect it to have so many in contention in the final stages of this run. But this is the start of the 10K. This is something that, you know, at the end of it all, there'll be a sprint finish from this. There's got to be.
Well, this looks like it's going to be the top six women here. I mean, this is unless someone else bridges up, or so it's quite a big gap, I think. So here they come now past us.
Yeah, well, they're just coming through transition, Graham. The thoughts of Mark on this?
Well, I was talking to Mark about this. We saw Helen Jenkins' heart rate at 173, and I said, well, what's Helen's max? And it's well over 200, isn't it?
Yeah, Helen's max is around 205, so 173, she should be able to sit at that all day. So that hopefully means that she's sat there comfortable. They're playing a bit of a game of cat and mouse in there at the moment, seeing who's going to take on the pace. But Helen and both Jodie look comfortable in that.
How much of it is down to keeping a poker face so that you don't let the opponents know that you're hurting?
Certainly in this early stage, you don't want to show that you're too fatigued and going to drop off. So it's good to look fresh at this early stage of the run.
Brilliant. So is it going to be from this 6, or can that chasing pack with Reef in it catch them?
No, I think it's going to be from that 6. The winner will, all the podium positions will come from that 6.
Well, let's hope so, because we've got 2 Brits in there. Back to you, Stuart.
Well, let's hope so indeed. An interesting insight close at hand there from transition from Mark Jenkins. He knows at 173 pulse rate all day. Well, mere mortals perhaps not. That is amazing. Quite right. So she must be in very, very good shape indeed, with a max of over 200. We used to achieve that in training on the track in those woods at Loughborough colleges in the early days, but no more. Stimson there, Jenkins up there, Tanner's there, so is Norden and May at the back, and May will have consolidated their Spirig on the far side. So the medals coming from these 6 absolutely clear. They are away from the rest, and there is enough talent here to make sure that no one catches. Well, I think the whole event has been good so far. It's been cat and mouse right from the start. Probably the swim was the most dramatic of the 3 disciplines thus far, but I have a feeling that the story will unfold here and the end of it will be quite interesting. Jenkins leads, Tanner in second place, Norden in third, Stimson on the near side in fourth, Spirig in fifth alongside May in sixth. These are the 6. It's down to these 6.
Unless somebody else is going to run through. We heard Holly Abel's running quite quickly from the next group, but she did come off in that lead pack, so she has to then gap that, you know, she has to make up and use up a lot of energy to get back onto this lead pack again. So I don't know if that's going to happen.
No, I think it would be an unlikely outcome. Nothing's impossible, of course, in this day and age, but there's a gap there which is quite significant now.
Yep, it's quite significant. Oh, here we go. Helen Jenkins is starting to just sit at the front here and just try to string these athletes out a little bit.
Yep, there's a subtle increase in pace. Nothing too clear, but it's subtle. And Tanner has gone in behind her. Stimson just rocking and rolling a little bit in those shoulders, but certainly Helen Jenkins looks very, very good indeed at the moment. And all of a sudden Norden takes a count. May well be suffering a little bit after that early charge where she tried to join the lead group. We know that she can run, and we know that she may well be going through a little bit of a bad patch here, may need a little bit more of a rest after that big surge early on, but there's nothing lost yet, and they're all still there. So not a significant break, but it was all of a sudden a disruption of rhythm, and that's what clearly gives problems to the athletes. When the rhythm is disrupted, then they tend to be physiologically under pressure, let's say.
That's right. I mean, they're all looking at each other now, and it's who's going to be willing to put in a surge to make that break and really put the pressure on the other athletes.
Right. If you were there and sitting in amongst that group, what would you be thinking at this particular time? Knowing what's gone on before, you're sitting there, you're British #1, you're an Olympian, you're sitting there, you're in good form. What would you be doing?
Well, it depends on what the pace is actually feeling like. I mean, if the pace, I felt like I was struggling with the pace, I'll just be happy to sit there. If I felt like I was comfortable, I would probably start to surge a little bit and start to, put the pace down, so string the athletes out so that there's less people at the end, because I knew that I couldn't sprint finish. I knew I had to get rid of people early. So I would be thinking to myself, with about 3K to go, I'm going to put the pressure on here and see how many athletes I can get rid of.
Well, there you've got Groff and Dietmar leading Hewitt. Hewitt in third place there, Riff in fourth place. That's the trailing group, of course, and they were, 20 seconds behind. There's the lead group up in front. You can see those. There's a 20-second gap here. Well, this is the leading group then coming through, approaching transition now with Helen Jenkins leading. Norden in second place. Spirig on the left of your shot is there. May has come back in, and so has Tanner, and it's Stimson who's dropped off the back of that group. So we're down to 5 now.
Well, Jodie Stimson's definitely the inexperienced athlete out of those 6, so she may have gone a little bit too hard there. Still having a fantastic race. Helen Jenkins leads from Norden.
Helen Jenkins of Great Britain leads. Norden of Sweden in second place. This is the trailing group of Groff, of Hewitt, who heads the rankings on the day. Riff is there. We expected a little bit more from Riff. This is the trailing group. They're about 20 seconds down. In fact, it's probably a little bit more than that at the moment. And this is the trailing group. And I don't know what's happened to Jodie Swallow at all, and whether she's pulled out, I have no idea. There must have been a problem. She had a dreadful transition. But the leading 4...
Debbie Tanner's just falling off the back now as well.
Yes, indeed. We're down to 4, I think. Debbie Tanner of New Zealand, 9th placer in the World Championships, looks to me to be losing a little bit of distance there. The trail group, 13 seconds down. So they've improved. They're getting closer.
I think that might be to Jodie Stimson.
Ah, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, she's in second. She's the second place.
And then there's probably another. Yeah.
There's Jodie. Yeah, and then there's the group following her. Yeah, you're quite right.
You can see by Jodie's face she's starting to grimace now. She's starting to really grit her teeth and really dig deep.
Yeah, Dietmar and Groff and Hewitt there, and along with Reef just obscured from view, and they're just coming through. And Jodie Stimson, who really is giving it a good go here. You have to say that she was totally committed to it. But I have, once again, Helen Jenkins of Great Britain looking very strong. For those of you who have followed triathlon, she was Helen Tucker, of course, who won the world title under that name. She's since married to Mark Jenkins. We've been hearing from Mark in transition along with Graham. And she's getting better and better and better. Mark himself, of course, an Olympian, so a very Olympic family there. Oh, Norden looks comfortable, tall, quite happy. Spirig is there, can't tell much from that. May, who we know about May, she had to really work hard to get with this group, but has done well to stay there. Now there's the trail group as well. There's Stimson ahead. She's in what, 5th place?
Yeah. Now, I mean, if these girls now catch Jodie, and you know, she sits in that pack, she can then regain her confidence again, get back into a really good rhythm, still have a fantastic race. I mean, she's having a fantastic race still. I mean, this is fantastic from the 20-year-old who is really her first World Cup.
Yes, I agree with that, and she may well be just going through a bad patch. It looks as though she may well be suffering from the pace. The pace was pretty good early on. It looks quite tough to me. Not as passive as the cycle element of the triathlon, and it's put a lot more strength into the legs of these athletes, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a fast run today, and Helen's definitely injecting some pace into this run. But as you can see, it's the experienced athletes who are going with Helen today. Lisa Norden and Nicola Spirig. Debbie Tanner just off the back of that pack. She's still having a fantastic race for Debbie. I mean, she hasn't had a race like this in a while, so she'll be really pleased with this. She can just hang in there. That's Debbie just dropping off now, just off the pack.
Can't tell a lot. Sunglasses on. No giveaway signs yet. Helen Jenkins looks comfortable, shoulders relaxed. So does Norden in 2nd place, the tall figure of the Swede. Spirig, slighter figure, looks strong too. May just moving. Looks comfortable now, May, again.
She does look comfortable. Now, this is a fantastic run from Elizabeth May. I mean, she hasn't had a run like this in a while either. I mean, she surged up early in the race, and she's hanging in there now, and she's got herself into a really good rhythm. She's probably thinking to herself, okay, I just need to stay on this pace now, as long as, you know, there's no more surges from Helen or anyone else. I think Lisa Norden's fairly happy to sit in there at this pace as well, and so's this could be definitely a sprint finish, without a doubt.
Well, we're certainly down to 4. Spirig has been very happy to sit in the back, as Helen Jenkins has done the leading here, so she's setting the tenor of the race. In other words, she's established a pace, and the rest will be sitting there. Now, we heard about Norden's prowess. We know about May. We know that she can finish.
I think Nicola Spirig looks the best out of these, to be fair. She's definitely got the running background, the running pedigree, more than any of those athletes in that lead pack today. So, you know, but then again, you still can't discount someone like Helen Jenkins or Lisa Norden, because they both are very good runners.
Well, one thing's for certain, that Helen will not give in easily here. The evidence of the coming into form is there before you. She declared that. She was quite confident coming into this race. This is her 5th race of the series thus far. Her best performance is 2 5th places. So this is going to be a little better, as it looks at the moment, as it's down to 4.
It's Debbie Tanner now.
Now, the point I was making about the psychological advantage of coming back, and you can see how far you are ahead. Well, there's the evidence for it.
Yeah, they can have a look across and see how much gap they've actually put on those other athletes. Will give them a big boost to know that they've dropped Debbie Tanner, and it looks like Jodie Stimson has actually gone back into that next pack behind.
Well, that will be helpful for her, because it's a lot easier. She was in no man's territory for a long time, which will have taken a lot more out of her. But certainly Helen Jenkins is providing the pace here, and I just hope, I wish that someone else would take it on as well. But you know, it's always ominous when you set your stall and you sit out there, and the others are just waiting, and they're getting mentally prepared. Spirig is moving wide, looking very, very sharp. She really does on the near side. May, well, looked as though she might have dropped off, but she's obviously gone through a little bit of a bad patch, now has come back into it. And Debbie Tanner, a New Zealander.
Debbie Tanner's hanging in there. I mean, that's a good sign from Helen Jenkins, actually, because she's leading this run here today, and she's setting the pace, and it's a pace that she feels comfortable at. So that's a really good sign. And the other, I mean, May looks like she's slipping off the back a little bit, and then she'll come back on, and then she slips back off. So I don't know whether she's that comfortable at the moment.
Well, we don't worry about times on occasions like this, because this is about competition. It's about who wins. No one giving anything away at all.
No one. I mean, you can see Helen checking her shoulder every now and then, just seeing if they're still there. And there's Tana. She's on her own, and that's pretty hard running on your own like that, in between two packs. She's pretty much running. You know, she doesn't feel that comfortable because she slipped off that front pack. She's probably a little bit out of her comfort zone, and she's probably just trying to recover and just try and finish off this race best she can.
Well, we're into the third lap in this triathlon, and really we're down to 4. Helen Jenkins of Great Britain, the world champion on the left. Nicola Spirig of Switzerland, 4th in the European Championships. Looks very, very strong. We know that Spirig is an athlete of some consequence.
Oh.
She can run. And I just wonder, is there a change happening here?
Spirig's making a break. She's going for it. They're starting to drop off Elizabeth May off the back there. She's really injected some pace there.
Well, Spirig certainly, and Norden is going along. Now then, Jenkins. Now, I think that's not a bad thing to happen, actually. If it takes the pressure off Helen Jenkins just for the moment, and she can now sit in. Now, that little glance over the shoulder, I hope that wasn't telltale, just to see what was happening. But we're down to 3. Where's May off the back of that group? But there's definitely... Oh, look at this. There is it. Now, that looks to me as though May will be dropped. And Jenkins wants to go into the lead again. Now, I'm just wondering whether perhaps it would have been better to sit there just for a while, because you're not going to impress and run the legs off these two athletes. They're too good for that. I think that probably it might have been better just to sit there and to just bide your time for a while, because she's been leading for a long, long time. And Spirig made that little burst. Look at this. Now there's a little look again. Now what's happening here?
I tell you what they're doing. They're all looking around to see, you know, because they know that this is the podium here. Everyone wants to be on the podium, and no one likes having 4 athletes in that front pack running along and somebody missing out. So they're making sure now that Elizabeth May is gone, and then they know it's down to these 3 athletes. So they keep checking over their shoulder to make sure that they put that gap on. And if they feel that Elizabeth May is still in contention, they'll probably put in another little surge just to make sure she's gone.
Well, this is the business end of the race now, just 3, and who will go? Spirig has sat in behind the other 2 for a long, long time. She hasn't done the leading. Jenkins certainly has, and not far to go now, so somebody's going to have to make a move. Certainly, Norden moves. Here goes Spirig on the left, and Norden goes with her, and Jenkins is caught as they come into the final straight, and Spirig is coming away. It's between Spirig and Norden now as they come down towards the finish. Jenkins is beaten. She's going to take 3rd place, the best finish of the series so far, but Spirig, Nicola Spirig of Switzerland, comes away to win, and it's very, very fast indeed. 1:54.22 unofficial, and Norden in 2nd place, the Swede, then Helen Jenkins in 3rd. Well, what a race that was, a truly magnificent race. Spirig had the sprint finish, and the rest will follow in. There's Reef coming in, there's Lisk, the rest following. Dietmar comes in too. May has already come in. May overtaken in the final stages, but what a good race that was.
That's fantastic, and you can see Debbie Tanner got caught as well at the end, so you know that was a tough race for her, finishing off that towards the end. But what a fantastic race from Nicola Spirig. And Jodie Stimson, look, 20 years of age, she's coming in, her first World Cup, and she's going to finish here in a very, very high up in the field. Fantastic race for Jodie.
Well, it promised to be a great race, and in the end it was a great race. And Helen Jenkins, who led for most of that 10,000 metres, in a sense paid the penalty, because Spirig did not so much work. She sat there, she waited, and she used the sprint finish. We tipped her, we said she had a sprint finish, we knew that, and at the end she prevailed. But Norden, the Swede, ran well too. Just a little look in the final stages, big smile at last, but the big 3 come through. And that was a very competitive race that came down to a sprint in the end.
Fantastic.
Let's just bring you up to date with the result. There it is. Spirig from Norden, from Jenkins. Liz May coming into 4th place. Dietmar, Reef, Lisk and Tanner. And Well, Spirig 1:54.24. That's a very, very good run indeed. Well, there are the rest as they're coming through. They've got the transponders, so we can give you that result now. And the rest, there's Blatchford, Swallow. Jodie Swallow back in 23 or 23rd position, ahead of Nikki Samuels. Kerry Lang, 2 minutes and 42 down. And so everybody was there apart from Moffat. And that just proves that the event here on the Olympic Park is going to be very, very successful in 2012. It's a superb venue, it really is. The unofficial result there. And we'll go and have a look at the overall World Series standings coming up. Moffat, who wasn't here today, leads. Norden in second, Hewitt third, Reef, Jenkins, Tremblay, Haskins and Groves. So that's how they stand with just 2 to go. One in Yokohama, the final in the Gold Coast in September.
So Helen, a fantastic race today. Just couldn't quite match them on that final sprint.
No, I was trying, but like we dropped Elizabeth May just before the finish shoot, and I thought, you know, come on, try and stay with these girls. I knew they were great finishers. Lisa's been on the podium numerous times, and Nicola's running is fantastic, but just didn't have the legs at the end.
Well, you did most of the work on the run, to be fair, didn't you? You pushed the pace on all the way.
Yeah, tactically it probably wasn't the best way to race, but I just didn't want to end up in a 6-way sprint with those girls, so I had to kind of keep pushing to try and break them a little bit. So thankfully I did, and I'm just so pleased to be on the podium in front of a home crowd.
And what's it like racing in Hyde Park? How does the venue look in preparation for 2012?
I think it's great. It was a fantastic feeling, atmosphere out there today. I really enjoyed the swim, and it's a really fast course. So the bike wasn't too challenging, but yeah, it's just exciting to be out there, and it's great. We've got 3 years out. We're having a chance to race at the venue.
So Nicola, an excellent sprint finish there.
Yes, it was amazing. I don't really know what to say. It was just an amazing race. Great to be here. I'm very happy.
What did you think of the Hyde Park venue?
It's a great place. I mean, it's in the middle of London. We just have the hotel here. There were a lot of people cheering for us, so it was an amazing race. Great place.
Yeah, I'm getting stronger and stronger, and this is probably my best race so far. I felt pretty average in the swim, but I still came out in quite a good position. So with the race overall, I'm quite happy. But it's the second sprint I'm losing this year, so I think I really have to work on my sprint finishes.
Did you know that? Did you know it was going to be? Do you know it was going to come down to a sprint at the end?
Yeah, the whole last bit of the run was slight uphill and headwind. So it's really hard to try to break early, and everyone just sat and waited. And there was a few surges, but it was going to be really hard to break away early. So I tried to conserve my energy to be there for the sprint.
Exciting race for the spectators, though.
Oh yeah, we do our best. We really try to make it exciting.
Race number 8, representing Great Britain.
So Nicola Spirig takes the top of the podium, but it's Helen Jenkins' result in 3rd place. Fantastic result for her, especially as she did all of that work at the front on the run. And in the men's race, it was all Alistair Brownlee. Cheered on from the start. In an action-packed race, Brownlee came through and just was on fire in the run, burnt away from the rest of the field. Stefan Justus made a last-ditch attack at the end, but Brownlee was untouchable today. So the official results, Brownlee in 1st, Stefan Justus 8 seconds behind, Chris Gemmell from New Zealand in 3rd, and crucially, well, Tim Don did well there, finishing in 9th place, but crucially, the did not finishes for Javier Gomez. And if we look, Brad Karlefeld injured, Javier Gomez out today. They are going to have to go and get an extra race in Yokohama before the World Championship finals. Alistair Brownlee now has a commanding lead.
Number 14, representing Great Britain, Sue Eilers.
So it's looking like a real climax towards the finish in the grand final. Mark, Alistair Brownlee's really got this in the bag, has he?
I think so. He's come out this year and dominated every single race he's done, bar Europeans, where he had a close race with Gomez. So for anybody to touch him now, they're going to have to come over the top of him in the World Series final, and I don't think anybody's going to do that.
Well, transition, it all kind of kicked off there, really, didn't it?
It was a bit messy transition for the men's race. I think Brad got his foot stuck in a wheel, and he might be in a serious bit of bother for the next through weeks, months. We're not exactly sure what happened still, but
well, he did look like in a lot of pain, and I really can't see him competing in a month's time at the grand final. Javier Gomez as well has got some problems as well. But it was all Alistair Brownlee when his main competitors dropped away. He really did take the race by the horns and power away.
Alistair took the opportunity and made the most of the day, and his competitors now have got to come back and perform from a serious crash and a serious incident in transition. Nobody knows how much that would have affected them yet.
So brilliant race from Alistair Brownlee. So it's looking like a really, really exciting climax for Brownlee at the grand final in just under a month's time. And you can see all the action from the Gold Coast, Australia on the BBC. Both the men's and women's races are live on the red button, and we've highlights of both events on Sunday the 13th of September, 4 o'clock on BBC Two. Coming up next now on BBC One, we have got all the action and reaction from the first day of the Football Premier League, and that's it from here in Hyde Park. It's all set up really for an exciting venue. It's proved itself to be a really good test. The Brits have had a happy hunting ground here in Hyde Park.
Running race number 20.